Okay, is everybody back? So hopefully you're feeling super relaxed and happy and not anxious. Take a deep breath. This is not a very serious thing. It should be something that is fun. So make sure you have fun more than anything. Okay, so even though this is going to be an evaluated presentation, it's not a big deal at the end of the day. So please make sure that you all have fun and relax. Okay. Having said that, we will be going right to our final presentations. As I mentioned earlier, there will be 3 sections. The first section will be, the presentations will be started by team H, E, and G. And please, when you are presenting, somebody in your team will be sharing your screen. So make sure somebody is doing that on your side, okay? And also, thank you. So when you are sharing your screen, there's 2 things to be careful about. First is when you're sharing your screen, please do not select optimize for video clip. There are two places where you can check. Please do not check the optimize for video. If you have sound in your presentations, please click the share sound button as well so everybody can hear it, but do not click the optimize for video clip, okay? And when the presentation is finished, please give everybody a warm kind of applause reaction, a positive reaction, so that people can feel good about their presentation, no matter how it goes, because the result is not as important. The fact that you've come this far is very impressive already. Okay, and also please be mindful of the presentation time. Again, you will see the timer, so make sure that you have an eye on the timer while you are presenting. If 10 minutes is already up, please, you don't have to cut your presentation. Please wrap up as necessary, so you don't have to stop talking, but please wrap up as quickly as you can, okay? So we're not cutting you at 10 minutes. We want you to finish your sentences and your ideas. And also, just to make sure that everybody can hear you clearly, for those presenters, feel free, if you feel comfortable, to take off your masks while speaking, okay? Because sometimes when you have your mask off, your voices get muffled and it's a little bit hard to hear, but only if you feel comfortable, yeah? So it is up to you. And I think with that, I just want to make sure if any team has not yet submitted their slides, please do so now within the next few minutes, okay? And before we have about a minute left, any last minute questions? Any urgent questions? You're all okay? Is Team H ready? Are you all okay, Team H?
Yes, Team H, we're ready.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so
Okay.
with this, I will turn over the mic to our host, Ayumi, and I myself I look forward to hearing all of your presentations, and I'll see you all later.
Okay,
Amy,
thank
could
you,
you please?
Mai-san. Okay, we will now begin the team challenge presentations of Asia Youth Leaders. Okay, I'm Ayumi Kawase from Ion 1% Club Foundation, and I will be your MC for today. So, over the past 3 days, students have learned about the relationship between the climate crisis and food through 3 lectures and 1 online seminar based on this year's overall theme of Let's Think About the Environment from Food. The students have discussed and worked hard with their team members to prepare their presentations. We are all really looking forward to your presentations. The group presentations will be held in 3 sections with lunch and breaks in between. After the presentations, we will have an award ceremony and a closing ceremony as mentioned earlier. The order of presentation for the 10 teams will be H, E, G for the first section, J, F, B for the second section, and D, C, A, and I for the final section. Each team will have 10 minutes to give a presentation, followed by comments from the judges. Please make sure that your presentations do not go over 10 minutes, okay? So now I would like to introduce the 3 distinguished judges for today's program. Okay, so Dr. Norie Tamura, who is the Managing Director of the FEAST NPO and lecturer at the Graduate School of Project Design. Second judge would be Professor Hein Murray, professor at Kyoto Prefecture University and senior advisor of Future Earth Japan Global Hub. And Mr. Koji Wada, the Executive Director of Brand and Communication at Ion Top Value Co. Limited. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you. Okay, so now let's begin with our first section with presentations by Team H, E, and G. Okay, so Team H, please put up your presentation and share your screen with everyone. Can you do that? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Please start your presentation when you are ready.
Okay, so good afternoon. Good morning, actually. Okay, we are Team H and we will begin now. After listening, Amy, are you ready?
Yep, sure. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, then I'll begin. After listening to the full lectures, I believe all of you must have learned a lot and already had a blueprint of a future of food. Sure enough, our group's final presentation will focus on the current problems we are facing and give out solutions as well as expected goals. Since it was estimated that the world population will reach the number of 9 billion by the year of 2050, how to feed that much of people will be an enormous challenge for the human beings. But about 83% of the farmland, which is nearly 26% of the Earth's total land area, is already growing pasture and fodder crops for them instead for human. At the same time, meat and dairy production accounts for 27% of global freshwater consumption. Food accounts for 1/3 of the greenhouse gas emissions, and about 15% of greenhouse gases were from meat industry, even more than that from the transportation. So any solutions? Please take over, Ashu.
Our first solution is plant-based meat. Plant-based meats are used in making foods like burgers and meatballs. Most of the meat substitutes in the market include proteins from plant origins. For example, soy, beans, and nuts. Let's take a look at the benefits first. Plant-based meat emits 30% to 90% less greenhouse gas than conventional meat. Animal agriculture's emissions come from 3 major sources: conversion of forests, production of animal feed, animal digestion, and waste decomposition, where the primary ingredients for plant-based meat have very low greenhouse gas emissions. Next, plant-based meat uses less water than conventional meat. Plant-based meat production cuts out the primary water requirement in conventional meat production. Besides that, plant-based meat requires no antibiotics. Happy animals are fed antibiotics to seed growth, causing microbes to become resistant and making life-saving drugs useless in human medicine. Regardless of the benefits, there are also some concerns that we should take a look at. Plant-based meats are derived by monoculture farming. Monoculture farming has impacts on soil erosion, and they depend heavily on fossil fuels because of the fertilizers. Lastly, they are bad for biodiversity. I'll pass it to Haruka now.
Although plant-based meat is important, plant-based meat is made from soybeans. But many countries import soybeans from other countries, especially Japan imports 93% of soybeans consumption. And transport emits a large amount of CO2, so it is bad for the environment. When we proceed making and eating plant-based meat, we have to think about this problem too. In order to encourage farmers to make soybeans, what should we do? Farmers don't want to make soybeans because they can be easily affected by climate, and farmers can't get a stable income. We have to develop new and strong type of soybeans by breeding, so that farmers could start making soybeans. Next, Amy, please.
So another solution is entomophagy. Entomophagy is the consumption of insects by humans, and it is practiced in many countries around the world, but predominantly in parts of Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Just one change in our diet can address so many issues surrounding us. Starting off with the environmental benefit, we'd be able to cope with climate change since it emits significantly less greenhouse gas, reduce waste, food waste, as unlike other meat products, most parts of the insects are edible, while only 40% of, let's say, a cow is edible. And surprisingly, 45% of the greenhouse gas emissions in animal production is due to the feed production of the animals to consume. According to the FAO, or Food and Agriculture Organization, insects need 12 times less feed than cows and 2 times less than pigs. Not just yet, they also require less land and water, in fact, 2 to 15 times less. Same goes for land use. Another solution we can cope with is the rise in population, since bugs have a higher production rate. Moving on to the health benefits, apparently insects have higher nutritional value than other meat products, especially in protein. All of the insect protein levels, as you can see on the right-hand side, surpasses the amount of that of the other meat products. They also have identical levels of carbohydrate and fat compared to beef, chicken, and pork. Despite all the benefits, there are some concerns surrounding this alternative, which are the risks of getting ill from consuming them and the preference and discomfort of the whole concept of eating bugs. We'll have Gakto explain how we can relieve these public concerns.
I'm going to introduce obstacles and solution about insect meats. Next, please. Nowadays, a lot of people are eating insect meats. I realize there are 2 ways to eat it. It seems very with the presence or absence of the habit of eating insects. In countries where it is a customary, it is eaten for. For example, spit roasting and put in just stew. In countries where it isn't customary, it is processed before eating. For example, cricket chips and cricket muffin. There are several obstacles to entomologist diet. Here are some of them. First, visuals. I think many people don't want to eat it because of the way it looks. What if the insect don't see the insect itself? For example, insect meat burger, no different than a regular hamburger. I think it looks tasty. Second, stereotype. I'm going to introduce stereotype of insect meats. First, insect eating is not safe. Entomology has no nutrition value, and if insect food is not tasty. However, insects have a lot of nutrition, for example, protein, calcium, iron, and so on. Insects have nutrition value more than other meats. Next, please. Next, about safety. Some people say insect food safety. I think that a lot of people think insect food have risk. However, insect food is safe. I'm going to introduce why it's safe. Because to date, no infection disease have been reported as a result of eating insects. Also, some report a low risk of infection compared to meat from other animals like mammal and birds. However, further research on this topic is needed. Please, Tom, please.
Okay, now we talk about cooperation in the society. Although we have an alternating food in the future, but we can't forget the origin of the food that we process it to an alternative food. Okay, in this point, we talk about some action that the people who involved to this problem, and I divide it as 3 points. Like the first one is talks about an production, and the second one talks about consumer, and the last one talks about the government. Okay, for the production rolling, they have to increase the agriculture production. They can do like the land reform, choose the good seed, or use fertilizer to have them increase the production. And the last one, it talks about practice and interplant. It means like they plant many type of plant in the land. And the last one is about practicing cooperative. It means like the farmers should cooperate with consumer and government. Okay, now we move to the next point. It talks about the consumer. Like they have to avoid or reduce the food waste. It means like they should eat in the medium, like do not eat food too much, and should recycling the food, leftover food like this. And they can start an own garden. It is important that they can start an own garden to grow the crop for support in their daily life. And the last one is about participating in environment protection. Everyone cares about the future of food, but if we really care about it, we have to care about environment first because it is affect to the future of food too. Okay, now we move to the government point. In this point, is the government should make an affordable credit available to the farmer. Next one is about the minimum support price and production pricing system. Farmer need and the middle price, and based on what I know on the news, some farmer decided to throw out their product because the price of the production is too low. And the last one is about to promote the recycling of food action to the people. So the government should promote it to be a good environment. Okay, now I invite Penda to continue it.
If eventually research have ability on parent stability, health, animal welfare, tie something new, the environment must be revised, try in order to portray in the survival of life in the future. This is the end of the Dreamhead presentation. Thank you for watching and listening.
Thank you, teammate. Great presentation. Okay, so now Dr. Tamra, please provide a brief comment on the presentation by Team H. You could also ask them a question if you like.
Thank you. So for Team A, thank you for your wonderful presentation. I'm really impressed about your well-organized, very informative presentation. Especially, I like the point that you guys list up both pros and cons for insect food and soybean food. Especially the issue about or as you may know, the issue related to the soy meat is increasingly discussed. So it's really up-to-date presentation, I feel. I have one question. So you guys talked about, in the last section, you guys talked about the role of producers, consumers, and government. Do you have any idea about the role of consumers for promoting insect food? If you have any discussion so far, please let me know. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for your good question. I think that consumer also plays an important role in the sustainable food. Like they should promote to eat insect food also because in the future we don't know that we still have enough food or not. So we should try the new thing that we can eat. It's good if the consumer try to taste about the insect food. It's my idea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now Professor Mare, could you provide some comments for them?
Yes, thank you very much. Group H, I was very impressed with your presentation. It was this spoken commentary was smooth and running. You guys took turns, each explaining part of the contents, and the slides were very attractive to visually, nice green colors, etc., etc. You included numbers in the beginning from the FAO and similar authoritative sources, so that was all very well done. My only sort of small comment on the negative side is that towards the end, the sections on government, on sort of who the actors are and results seemed a bit disconnected from the previous two main sections on soy-based foods and insect foods. The insect food discussion was really interesting. I thought it was important that you understand that people may feel some, let's say, revulsion or at least hesitation towards eating something they've never eaten before, like insects, and you propose processing, etc., as a way to address that issue. So congratulations on a very interesting presentation.
Okay, thank you. So thank you, Team H. Okay, so the next team would be Team E.
Okay, Nina, can you share the screen?
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so are you ready, Team
Yep.
E? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. Please begin your presentation when you are ready. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all have had a wonderful day so far. Let's get right into our presentation. Let's meet Better Future. We are from Team E, or you can call us Environment Meal. My name is Yo-Yo.
My name is Noval.
My name is Uyin. Let's have a look at our table of contents for today's presentation. Firstly, we will talk about meat alternatives such as plant-based meat, lab-grown meat, and insects. Secondly, we will discuss ways to produce meat more sustainably. Next. Is our meat production system really sustainable? Let's look at how it harms our environment. Our high consumption of animal products, especially meat, is fueling our climate change crisis. Worldwide, animal agriculture contributes more to climate change than exhaust emission from the entire transportation sector. Animal agriculture emission comes from cutting down trees or burning forests to make crop farms, growing food for animals, and the animal digestion itself. The chemicals used to grow crops for the animals can enter our water system and put nearby communities in danger. You can see here that livestock emits more greenhouse gases than the transportation sector, manufacturing/construction, and other fuel combustion sectors. The overuse of resources in meat production. Almost 70% of all agriculture land is used for livestock, and a lot of that land is just used to grow animal feed. That's very little land that we use to actually grow crops that we eat ourselves, about 30%. Animal agriculture uses almost a third of the world water usage in global agriculture. Of that water, most of the water is used in growing crops for livestock, taking up water that could be used for drinking or water that could be used to grow food for people.
So right now we're gonna talk about alternative meats. It all have a plant-based meat and lab-grown meat and an insect-based meat. So for the start, we're gonna talk about the plant-based meat. Meat substitutes that are made from plants that are meant to recreate the taste and the texture of the meat itself. According to Business Wire USA, a global enterprise information distributor, the global market for meat substitutes is expected to reach 14.9 billion by 2027, up from 5.9 billion in 2020. As this product gather more in demand, the quality and similarity will become better and better. After that, we're gonna talk about lab-grown meat, a new type of meat produced by increasing cells taken from animals through artificial culture and tissue formation, less impact on the global environment than livestock fattening, and does not require large area of land. And lastly, we're gonna talk about insect as a sustainable food resource. Insect farming and processing produce significantly lower greenhouse gas emissions. Not only do insects produce less waste, their excrement called frass is an excellent fertilizer and soil amender. The nutritional value of crickets, since they're pretty popular in the insect-based food space, for 100 grams of crickets, you will get 60 grams of protein. For the comparison, an identical serving of chicken will give you just only 31 grams, and a dried beef will give you just 41 grams. So it's a lot of protein.
Despite the developments in meat productions and their positive sides, it is still extremely crucial for us humanity to actually find ways to make meat productions and meat consumption more sustainable. So to get started, we're going to dive into some solutions for about what the governments and the companies can do. So firstly, they should encourage the appearance of meat alternatives in TV shows and mainstream media. And what we mean by saying this is that they can actually put more funding, pour more money into increasing the appearance of plant-based meat, lab-grown meat, or insects in the news or in cooking shows. Those cooking shows in the news already have like an audience that will be willing to accept the usage of meat alternatives in the future. So therefore, it is definitely contributing to the sustainable meat consumption. And secondly, they should make laws that support businesses which produce meat alternatives. Thirdly, they should try to set realistic goals and, well, to be more specific, within 3 months, 6 months, or a year. The goal is to decrease the meat consumption by, for instance, 2%, 5%. The beginning goals doesn't have to be strong and impactful. We don't need strong cuts from the beginning, but by setting targets, the government and the companies can actually keep track of their progress, whether it is actually improving or not, and therefore making the sustainable meat consumption more sustainable and more accessible in the long run. So additionally, we're going to mention some solutions that the factories and more specifically the people who are directly involved in the beef productions, meat productions can do. So as you guys can see on the screens, we have a few definitions and descriptions about the CAFOs. But to sum up and to give a clear explanation, in an industrialized livestock corporations, the livestock needs to be pumped with antibiotics, and therefore they end up dumping their wastes, yes, the poop, into our environment in a very unhealthy way. So it is definitely crucial for the cattle farmers to, decompose those animal waste into the fertilizer for trees, not exactly by releasing the dumps entirely into the environment, because it can harm the land, the water, and also the air. So finally, are the things that normal citizens, especially students, can do to make changes. So first up, we should just have to have an eating schedule. Like for instance, during a 1 week schedule, you can have 3 days to consume mostly vegetables, those healthy proteins, and the rest 4 days or 3 days, you will be having a normal diet, which consists meat. Second is to have cheat days. Please don't try to force yourself into some intense cuts of meat. It is definitely not going to work in the long run. So make sure to spend like 1 or 2 days, go to restaurants, enjoy your meal, have some good meat, and just try not to overdo it. Try not to have way too many cheat days. Thirdly, to be mindful about choosing the products that you're going to consume. We would try to choose the meat that are grass-fed or pasture-raised. And also don't forget to compost the food waste into fertilizer. This idea is kind of connected to the farmers can do. And finally, last but not least, we have to make sure that we can raise people's awareness from schools and for the younger generation by using social media, SNS. So regarding the final ideas, our group, the Environment Meal, actually did a special hashtag event on Instagram. So basically what we do here is that we took photos of our daily everyday meal, which consists meat in it. We kind of circle it in our picture. As you guys can see, we circled the meat part. And then we tell the people about the environmental impacts that our beef production is putting in the environment so that other people can be fully aware about it.
In conclusion, at the moment, our way of producing meat, especially beef, is extremely unsustainable and is fueling our climate change crisis. Besides making meat alternatives more accessible to everyone, our group believes that the principal method to ameliorate the way we consume food is to make meat production more sustainable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chimi. Now, Mr. Wada, please provide a brief comment on the presentations by Team E.
Team E, thank you for the presentation. First of all, I love the slide you use, like the font and the colors and the visuals. I love it. And for presentation, I think you did a very good fact-based research, and that's enable us to convince how the valid your proposal and the solutions. One of the things, I can make some comments to improve your presentation more. It would be, so you focus on the pros, like a good thing for plant-based food and love meat and insect meat side.
Yes, we did.
And then you develop the story of the presentation, also how you can manage the factory or the individuals. I assuming you're suggesting some well-balanced some diet for meat and the meat alternative. And also you need to, your suggestions for us to be very careful to kind of grow the meat in a more sustainable way. But I think maybe between that kind of stories, if you could put some bad thing or cons of your solution, plant-based live meat and insect meat, that's be more convincing and more not maybe you can your proposal be more kind of diversified and then maybe make some balanced choices. But again, your presentation is extremely good, very logical, and then very clear focus on the presentation. Congratulations on your work. Thank you.
Thank you for your useful comments and suggestions. We highly appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Dr. Tamura, can you provide some feedback?
Yes, thank you for your presentation. It is wonderful. I agree with Mr. Wada. I also like your graphical slides. Well, especially I like the first slide. It's very nice paintings there. Well, in terms of the contents, I like the phrase, set the realistic targets. Yeah, it's really important to set the realistic targets. And I'm also pleased to listen that you guys pointing out about the issue of concentrate farming. I think it is really important because the meat when we talk about the environmental aspect of the meat consumption, we do not want to criticize the meat consumption itself, right? The issue is coming from how to raise the meat, how to produce the meat. So it is a bigger thing. So in terms of in that sense, your point, your presentation captures the point, I feel. But just for the one more information, you guys talked about the campaign in the section of the campaign campaign, you guys talked about the scheduling. As you may know, that there is a global movement, so-called Meatless Monday or Meat-Free Mondays. So it would be interesting to how to bridge those existing movement to more broad, how to make it more broad things, or how to disseminate those movement to the youth generations. Well, I enjoyed your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for your lovely comments.
Okay, thank you for the comment and feedback. So the next team will be Team G. Thank you, Team E. Okay, so Team G, are you ready to present your presentation? Okay, so please begin your presentation when you are ready.
Hi everyone, and hope you all had a lovely day, but it's about to get even better with our presentation. So first things first, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Yuri, I'm from Thailand, and I'm the leader of Team G.
My name is Waka, and I'm from Japan.
My name is Tomo, and I'm from Japan.
We're the 3 representatives that will be with you guys today, and here are team members. Don't forget to go follow our Instagrams. Just kidding, but please do. So let's get started. As you all probably know, we were assigned with this question. So my teammates and I brainstormed and brainstormed and brainstormed through blood, sweat, and tears until we arrived at these resolutions: lab-grown food and changing consumer behaviors. But what exactly is lab-grown food? Lab-grown or lab-based food refers to food that is cultivated in a lab. Currently, meat, dairy, honey, and vegetables are the main types of lab-grown food in development. These are cultivated either directly from cells via microorganisms through fermentation or synthesized from sequences of nucleotide bases, thus often being referred to as cellular agriculture. Lab-grown food has the exact same chemical components as natural food, hence it has the same taste, smell, texture, and nutritional values as natural food. Lab-grown food may even be healthier than natural food, as food scientists can adjust the nutritional profile of lab-grown food to offer the same components as natural food without the harmful substances. We've compiled additional information on the process of producing lab-grown food products and the current lab-grown food companies in the food industry, but due to limited time, we probably won't be able to cover all these in today's presentations. So if you're interested, you can go check it out from our slides in the Google Drive. Lab-grown food has various different benefits, and I will be discussing some interesting ones with you today. Overall, lab-grown meat reduces the negative health impacts of meat eating, since food scientists can actually control the quantities of harmful cholesterol and saturated fat in each cut. Furthermore, lab-grown meat does not contain harmful antibiotics, growth hormones, nor pathogenic bacteria. Statistics have shown that 65% of humans are lactose intolerant. Therefore, lab-grown milk presents a new dairy alternative with no lactose, milk cholesterol, and saturated fat. So, why lab-grown? Why is consuming lab-grown food a better alternative for the environment? From what we learned in the first lecture, livestock make up a huge portion of the global greenhouse gas emissions, causing significantly more environmental complications. Lab-grown methods could efficiently produce sufficient amounts of food for the global consumption demands, with significantly less utilization of resources, including land, water, pesticide, fertilizer, energy, and labor when compared to conventional farms. In addition, they do not contribute to greenhouse gas emissions and eliminates the problem of animal cruelty. Theoretically, if these products are produced on a large scale, they could potentially become the cheaper alternatives in the market.
I'm sure many of you may be wondering why we choose lab-grown over the plant-based. Well, with plant-based food, some product may taste similar to the animal-based one, but the chemical components are not the same. Thus, it can lead to the deficiency of some nutrients, which is bad for your health. A lot of you may suggest that there are foods supplement to make up for that. But why do we have to purchase extra just to get what we should be getting from regular food? Another point I would like to discuss is the taste. Plant-based food may taste similar, but it still doesn't taste the same. So many consumers prefer to purchase the regular products. To achieve the taste, a lot of artificial flavorings are involved, and a lot of the chemicals may be harmful to your health. Plant-based food also involves genetically modified organisms, in which it is still being debated by numerous experts about potential harmful effects to your body. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the concept, but I'd like to elaborate more. The process of creating GMO involves making a recombinant DNA by inserting the selected target gene vector into the plasmid of bacteria. We know the effect of the selected gene, but we do not know for sure about the effect of genes on the rest of the plasmid. Thus, it may possibly be harmful for long-term consumption. Moving on to the next topic. In solving the issues of climate change in the perspective of food consumption, one of the most important aspects is definitely consumer behavior. Consumer behavior refers to how the consumer's emotions, attitudes, preferences affect buying behaviors. We have 3 ideas on how to encourage people to consume lab-based products, and I'll be discussing the target market of these ideas as well. Firstly, using SNS. These ideas target are educated young individuals aged 10 to 30. The effect of SNS are significant, as it can easily reach a wide audience of people who are open-minded and willing to try intriguing food alternatives. Secondly, making convenient food products from lab-based products. These ideas targets are parents or busy individuals who do not have much time for food preparation. Finally, use lab-grown products as ingredients in snacks. This idea targets everyone because who doesn't love interesting snacks?
One of the major factors affecting consumer behavior is media influence. Media influence is the actual force exteriorized by a media message, resulting in either a change of reinforcement in audience or individual beliefs. Media influence contributes tremendously to sales performance. It is responded that 81% of consumers' purchasing decisions are influenced by their friends' social media posts. So today, we have 3 suggestions for the methods of publicity. The main targets of the propaganda are divided into 2 parts. The relevant companies and government departments that promote the development of lab-grown food, and the consumers who are willing to live a green and healthy life. Our suggestions are: 1. Recommending the feasibility and economic benefits of lab-grown foods to relevant enterprises in obtaining their support to carry out the problem. 2. Popularizing the benefits of a green diet lifestyle to consumer groups and calling on people to protect the environment. For example, distributing leaflets promoting lab-grown food consumption, holding lectures, and advertising in communities. 3. Promoting on the internet by advertising short videos in popular video sites. I know a lot of people may be concerned about the issue of the unrealistically high price of lab-grown lab-grown products, so I will be discussing a bit on that. In the present, the price of lab-grown food may seem quite high, as it has just started to enter the commercial market. In every innovation, the high price in the earlier stage is due to high cost of research and development. But in the long run, there will be an increase in demand and the number of sales, thus resulting in large-scale production and the decreases in price to a more affordable price for consumption. As for the long-term cost of the production of lab-grown food, it will definitely be lower than that of the conventional farming due to the lower amount of resources required and maintenance costs. During our team discussions, we were able to come up with their small ideas as well, so go check on the Google Drive. To conclude, in our perspective, we believe that consuming lab-grown food is the resolution to the amelioration of the crisis of climate change. Thank you for the attention, and we hope our information will be helpful to you in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the great presentation. So now, Professor Murray, please provide a brief comment on the presentations by Team G.
Yes, thank you very much. I do that with a lot of pleasure. I can frankly say that I enjoyed the presentation. You all spoke very well and had very interesting slides. But more over and above that, you managed to squeeze in a few jokes, etc., which is not so easy when you're sort of on screen and a bit nervous and all that. So that was really refreshing. You also put an enormous amount of data and information into the presentation, and quite skillfully sort of scrolled through some of this and told us to look at the drive so that you could actually sort of transfer more knowledge than you could actually present in the presentation time. I had one minor element of confusion in the sense that you guys talked about lab-based food all the time, and I think sometimes you probably meant lab-based meat or lab-based meat-like food products. And I want you to sort of go home with also thinking about that the idea that plants can be a food in their own right. So plants don't necessarily have to become the basis for lab-based food or meat production, but they have value in themselves as well. So congratulations to a very interesting presentation.
Excuse me, can I speak a little bit more about the, so can I clear a bit of the question you had? So with the lab-based products that we mentioned, we were also mentioning about the dairy, the lab-grown dairy and honey and vegetables as well. And for plant-based food, our lab-grown methods aren't necessarily produced from plants. They're from animal cells and nucleotide bases. So we mentioned plant-based food as a contrast, as it's one of the alternatives that many people suggest. And we thought that maybe you guys would wonder why we didn't choose that alternative, unlike the others. Not, yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All of you make a very strong impression as advocates. I think that you have careers ahead of you as salespeople in promoting these new types of products.
Okay, thank you. So now, can you provide some feedback, Mr. Wada?
Thank you for the presentation, Garlic Pizza for Life. I love the name. I think your presentation is very well done and very active and and attractive in the manner. So, and also you're focusing on the very much specific actions and the communication and what kind of real action we need. I think that's a good point too. I think I'd like to make some comments on the on that. Like, you know, you're suggesting the lab-grown food would be one of the key solutions, and you explained about so many benefits on that, and also you explained that why not plant-based. But I think I just came up with a question in what is the challenges and the obstacle to accelerating or promoting the lab-grown food from the producer side and the supply chain side, and then what is how consumer feel on that? I think that's the one thing, like, you know, you can make some, like, you know, clarify on that. It would be better. And also, you explained why not plant-based food, and then you said a GMO and a taste, some like, you know, artificial ingredients, whatever. But I think these kind of things can be improved on the future as well. So it's not the kind of a absolute, like, you know, the reason why not plant-based. Maybe, like, you know, how we can come up with solution how to improve plant-based these kind of challenges and overcome. So I think maybe, like, you know, because of the short time of preparation, I think this is well done and then very interesting. But I think for more further kind of research and then exercise, maybe you can think about the, like, you know, how you can more deep dive into that kind of discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, now let's begin with the Team J's presentation. So please prepare your presentation and share your screen, Team J. Make sure your camera's on. So Arashi, can you turn your cameras on? And Asami? And Salsam? Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, are you ready? Okay, so please begin your presentation when you are ready.
Okay, so may I start the presentation? I'll start my presentation now.
Wait, can you wait a minute?
Oh, okay, sorry. Are you okay?
Like, am I sharing the screen?
Yeah, I saw the screen. Okay.
Like, it seems that my computer doesn't work well.
Can someone else share the screen?
Coco. Okay, wait. Okay.
Oh yeah, okay. Thank you. So I will start our presentation now. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. This is Miri speaking, and for today's interview, we have a few special guests with us.
Hello.
They are from Asmo Group, a corporation in the food business. They will be giving us tips and information about how we can sustain a nature-friendly diet. Let's not waste time with my chatting. I'll hand it over to the Chief Director of Marketing of a small group, Mr. Law. Now, Mr. Law, what problems are there in the food business and what actions can we take?
Okay, so first of all, hello guys, my name is La, and we have to take an action in the first place. So we all know that global warming is becoming a huge problem in now today, and also the disposal of plastic waste or the emission of carbon dioxide is killing the earth. And I think we need to let the earth breathe. Also, however, we have so many problem issues to deal with, but to categorize them, we have the four main is first is production. Production is very first step of making food. Then we go to processing. It's a packaging and renewable energy instead of running a machine on a fossil fuel. Then next one is distribution. Distribution is about transportation, energy for vehicle and freight. Lastly is consumption. Consumption, this is a process we ask each other, individuals and consumer, and make a change of ourselves, also that we can choose to eat a natural friendly.
I see. Thank you very much, Mr. Law. Could we have a more intricate explanation regarding these categories?
Yeah, of course, Mary. In production, a lot of companies conduct deforestation. Deforestation has multiple factors why it occurs. However, for food, it is for making available land for agriculture. The next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. And multiple factors why it occurs. However, for food, it is for making available land for agriculture, farming, and plantations, as well as infrastructure. This causes CO2, CH4, and NCO emissions. During processing, plastic and other resources are wasted and affect the environment and human health. The transportation used for distribution also causes CO2 emissions, known as food miles. And last but not least, consumption by stores and stakeholders also has caused food waste.
Thank you, Mr. Sami. Now, Mr. Arshi will tell us how we can solve these problems.
Well, let's first think about what companies can do. Next slide, please. Okay. For our company, we are producing insect and cell-cultivated meat as products. Other companies can do this too, and even plant-based meats. This will reduce the deforestation conducted for agriculture, biodiversity loss, greenhouse gas emissions, and many more. But these companies must remember to market and advertise these products in a way that can attract stakeholders and not to scare them away. Next slide. Oh. Hold on. In processing, companies can also attempt to minimize the use of resources, at least non-renewable resources. They can start using solar energy or energy converted from wind, water, and biomass. Another way, which is very hard to do, but they can create an event or a promotion where they ask the customers to bring their own containers to put their products in, and they can pay according to the mass of the product. This way, we can make the waste during the processing almost close to none.
Oh, that sounds like an idea. Well, next up is Mr. Sultan, and he will tell us about how we can change the ways to distribute food.
Okay. Other than during distribution, companies can also use resource from local means to reduce the carbon emission from the transportation of resources from different countries and regions. Of course, this is a durable solution. Therefore, companies can make the vehicle then or use distribution to use renewable fuel, such as biofuels produced from biomass, carbon neutral fuel, and the other renewable energy to reduce carbon emission. The even eliminate it as well. There are all great the ideas, but the company should accept the problem exists and attempt to change the people's lifestyle. Through advertisement, lecturer, and even give environmentally friendly products as test products to customer and spread them to others. Market shops and stores can also donate or lower the price of the product during their best before that.
Oh, thank you so much. Now I will hand it over to Miss Cocoa.
Hello, I'm Cocoa. So we know that companies should do what companies should do, but we know what companies should do, but good. But how can we encourage them to do that? This is the important point because we are high school students, not working for companies. To encourage them, we can do mainly two things. First, things like propaganda or signature. We can do that. So for what? For visualize the use of CO2 in factories, and also for selling environmentally friendly products or whole events that like tell people what is good for the environment. The second thing is to get food that would be thrown away and distribute to them, to people who don't have enough food.
Thank you very much. It's interesting to hear that we can take part in making a change as well. Next up, Miss Lorena. She will tell us what we can do as individuals.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lorena. And next slide, please. We're just consumers in our daily life, and we're the main cause to the climate change as human beings. So we need to do something. First of all, we can choose to eat nature-friendly food. We're supposed to buy the food which grows or be made near our city so that it won't cause much pollution during transportation process. And what's more, we can see if there's an environmentally friendly sign on the product to make sure it is a nature-friendly food. And also, we can try plant-based food and sell cultivated meat. They have the same look as normal food and same or even more protein than conventional ones, but they make less pollution to the environment. So these are suggested, and maybe you can have a try after our event. And then when we go to stores to buy drink like coffee or something like that, we're suggested to bring our own bottles, and so that we can use less plastic and cause less plastic waste. I know in China, if we bring our own bottles, we'll get a discount. So you can have a try in your countries. And there is a limitation to things we can do as individuals. But if we get larger organizations involved, it will make a change.
Thank you so much. So through the lectures and the discussion, we could understand how difficult it is to encourage people into changing their ways that they've been used for so long, and how complicated the issues are. However, if we tackle them together, we can make a big difference, and that action should start now. We are from all over Asia. We are global. We are different, and we are capable. Let's take actions together and change the world. Thank you for listening, and that's all from us.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, Dr. Tamra, please provide a brief comment on the presentation by Team J.
Hi, Team J. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I really enjoyed to listen to your podcast program. So I like your creativity to make the presentation as a podcast. Right? It's really nice idea to involve every members. Wow, smart kids.
Thank you very
So
much.
I have one small question. So you guys are focusing on the start from the small step, but for me, you are proposing some different actions or options. What do you think the very best start small step? If you have any idea, please let me know.
May I answer that question?
Sure, please.
Okay, so our subtitle to this speech was our initial idea of this is to start from a small step. So in our presentation, we suggested, for example, choosing to eat diet that's produced in a way that's healthier for the earth. So that's like the small step we can take. And I was as individuals, there's not much we can do, and also we're students as well, so there is a limitation to what we can do. But as the world becomes more as the world deepens their understanding in the actions we should take for the global warming, I thought the steps can be bigger, and we can take bigger steps that in the end changes the world as a whole. So yeah, that's our idea. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thanks. So I understand that you guys are proposing a real small step, but also you are recognizing the limitation of those small steps. Yeah, thank you. I like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So now, Professor Murray Professor Murray, could you provide a comment?
Yes, thank you very much. Let me start at the end by you just had with Dr. Tamara. You propose small steps and you see the limitations, but you also have sort of a self-confidence as a group of kids from throughout Asia that somehow you can bring about change. I like that optimism and self-confidence. So, like Dr. Tamara, I like the podcast style way you presented it. Nice teamwork. I also, the contrast with the presentation in the morning was quite big, in the sense that in the morning people said, this is the solution. We have a sort of a concrete problem and we have one or maybe two single solutions. You guys looked at the whole food system from the beginning to the end and said, well, there's all kinds of problems occurring at various places. And we sort of have maybe some ideas about how to solve some of those. So I think both approaches are valid, and you gave a good example of the second way of doing that. So thank you for an interesting presentation, and I hope you can carry that self-confidence beyond this initiative into your lives and careers and really make a change in Asia.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So the next team would be Team F. Yes. Okay, so yeah. Okay, are you ready? Yeah? Okay, so please start your presentation when you are ready.
So first of all, I would like to pay my higher respect to the chairman of the ceremony, judges, teachers, coordinators, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. We are from Team F, Green Art. Today, we are gladful to present to you guys a topic mentioned that sustainable food system for future generations. Hey guys, you know, nowadays, the global population is rising steadily and the demand of the food is increasing too. It is also requires more space for food production and increased production chains. In addition, the consumption of food is not just sustainable, such as according to the IFAO's resource, in the Indonesia, 11.18% of sweet potatoes and 6.16% of soya beans production is thrown away each year. So if it still continues like that, what will the future of food become? So to be clear, let's get in. We have divided this presentation into three sections, which are definition, issues, and solution, and conclusion. So for the definition, so what is the definition of sustainable food? Sustainable food is that the food that is grown or reared in the manner that limits their negative impact on the environment and the communities that produce them. The purpose of it is avoid damaging or wasting natural resource. Example like mushrooms or organic fruit or vegetables. So next, I would like to invite Nawaz to continue our presentation.
So for the next one, we will talk about alternative meats. Now, based on the figures from the Meat Eater's Guide to Climate Change and Health report, lamb has the highest carbon footprint. Even before beginning its journey to our supermarkets, lamb produces an average of 20.44 kilogram of CO2 emission per kilogram of product. And because lamb release methane, which is the most harmful of greenhouse gases, it's even more damaging than carbon dioxide. And on average, beef produces 5 kilogram fewer CO2 emission. We should remember, however, that this figure doesn't take into account the emission produced post-farm gate, which includes transporting the product from the barn to your plate.
So what is the solution to this problem? Well, if there was a way to eat meat without farming and killing billions of animals contributing to climate crisis, well, then lab-grown meat is the ideal solution. However, you have to keep in mind that these products are not vegan, vegetarian, or plant-based. They are real meat, except animals wouldn't have to sacrifice their lives for us to live. Cultivated meat is also an emerging food technology that could help substantially reduce global emissions from food production because of its lower land, water, and nutrient footprints. So how does it work? Scientists would get cell samples from animals from variety of ways, such as harvesting a tiny piece of tissue taken by biopsy, isolating cells from eggs, traditionally grown meat, or obtaining cells from cell banks. The second step is identifying nutrients, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids for the cells to absorb in a lab or facility. In the same way that a traditionally grown chicken has cells and gets nutrients from the soy and corn it's fed. After that, those cells would be moved into the nutrient bath in a bioreactor, a large stainless steel vessel that has an internal process by which it agitates cells under a particular pressure to create an environment that allows cells to grow efficiently and safely.
Now that we talked about lab-grown meat, maybe you'll think, what if I don't want to eat the lab-grown meat now that I know it is still made from an animal? Okay, I got another solution. Here's the other alternative meat. If you see this dish at your lunch, I bet you'll never knew that this is not a regular meat. This dish is made from soybean, and the word TSP here is textured soy protein, which is a byproduct of extracting soybean oil. Talking about protein, it seems that the percentage of soybean meat have a lot more protein and less fat. And this other dish is tempeh and grilled eggplant, and they often used as an alternative meat as well. But how do we sell it? Hey, bossman, I recommend don't put an obvious sign that that's a plant-based meat, and just sell it just like other meat. I bet it'll be sold out. So these dishes have good nutrition than the regular meat, and these dishes can save the world from carbon footprint, methane gases, and this dish can save our future generation, and this is the food for our future.
So up until now, some of you may still be confused that even though we aren't eating meat from actual animals, that they're still out there emitting methane and carbon dioxide and so on. So is this problem really solved? So for centuries, humans have been speeding up the reproduction process of meat-producing animals to speed up the slaughtering and income part of the whole business. However, by the time humans stop consuming animals for food, these animals would hopefully be released back to the wildlife. And in nature, reproduction may not be as easy without human help. So the rate of survival of pregnancies would start to decrease, and slowly over time, the emission levels wouldn't be an issue to our environment anymore.
So now I would like to talk about the issues of food waste. So what exactly is food waste problems? So food wastes are basically the food that are thrown away, even though it's edible. It's a major issue in the world. And for example, in the US, 30% of the food produced in the US are thrown away each year. And this can pollute the environment. And also, food accounts 26% of human-caused greenhouse gases emission. Therefore, overproducing food can be very bad for the environment.
And next is competitions. Food competitions. Food waste is the food that isn't eaten, its impact with environment, climate change, and other. So we want to solve this problem by making the food competitions that can generate interest, and government organize this project for reducing the food waste by some rule which they made. The main rule is who has the least of food waste, that will be the winner. They believe that there are a lot of restaurants that will join these projects, and it's really good if we can make the restaurant can reduce the food waste, because they like to throw away the food when the food spoil, or food that has been prepared for a long time. They will throw it away, especially fast food. According to the survey in the US, average of half a pound of food is wasted per meal in restaurants. If government do this project, is make them buy food carefully and find some techniques to make customers don't throw away the food or get some reward if they win, or if they don't, they still have improved their own restaurant. In addition, customers have also practiced the habits of value the food more.
So why do we apply and design this competition? So as mentioned, as a result of this competition, restaurants can be more cautious and careful about their purchases, and they're likely to plan more when they buy ingredients. This way, the food waste can be reduced. Therefore, the producers or farmers can produce less food. This way, the emission of greenhouse gases are not as bad as it is now. So that's our plan.
So let's move on to the next subtitle, New Lifestyle. We encourage the use of food sharing service as a new lifestyle. To start off, food sharing service is a service that matches consumer with product nearing their expiration date that would be food loss through an app or website to sell them at a discount. And this is a present situation. Estimated economic loss of food is 737.6 billion yen in 2020. This is the evidence in a trial at Tokyo Station. Over 1 ton and 1,800 sets of meal could be sold in 1 month.
So we get a conclusion that we should use reasonable of the internet. Merchants can sell, not only sell also food at a discount, but can also save our future but can also effectively reduce the food waste. Now, guys, please remember that our Earth is actually in our help. We live here and we must take care of it. For the Earth's sake, for our sake. Our solution might be simple to hear, but it could be save the world just by eating sustainable food, design new competition, and designing a new lifestyle. We can save our future generation. That was the future of future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Team F. So now could you provide some brief comments on the presentation, Team F? Mr. Wada.
So Team F, thank you for the presentation and congratulations on your teamwork and a great work. So I have one curious question. At the first of the presentation, you mentioned that in Indonesia, 11.18% sweet potato and 6.16% soybeans are thrown away. So could you tell me why it happens? Anybody has an answer to that? Okay. So I think, okay, so I just curious, like, when you showed that fact, I just going to so food waste. Then you're talking about sustainable food and the definition. So I just a little bit confused. I was a little bit confused, like, what you're going to make a presentation or make a proposal. But I think the good thing is when you talked about the lab-grown meat, and then you also challenge yourself. What will happen if you achieve the lab-grown meat? Beef, you're taking care of beef producers, and then cultural background, etc. I think it was a good thing. We can insist and try to make it happen with a great effort to achieve one thing. But on the other hand, we need to take out, take care of what happens, the opposite side. So I think it is a good approach for that. I think your proposal is so relevant. So I think you did a great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, Dr. Tamura, can you provide some feedback?
Yes, so thank you for GMF, your presentation. It is well-coordinated presentation, I feel, and all the slides are in same tone and very smooth explanations. I like the points that you guys started the story from the definition. It's really good attitude to start from the definition. And also, I like the point that you are ending the presentation to talk about the new lifestyle. It's really futuristic. But at the same time, in the section of the new lifestyle, you guys introduced the existing examples. So I wonder where is the futuristic factor? So the food matching service has already existing in this world. So it would be great if you have any more extraordinary futuristic ideas. And I have another question. I have one other question, that is the food waste contest. Why you guys focus on the restaurant? Because food waste can come from every different sector of the food chain, like food makers, factory, or home, at your home kitchen. So why are you guys focusing on the restaurant? Can
I answer the question?
Please.
Firstly, in restaurants, it's quite common that the food that is still edible are thrown away just because the date, the time limit expired. Therefore, it is a major source of food waste, and I think that's it's a very common thing that's happening. So if we could stop that kind of ruthless wasting within the restaurant, we thought it might cut the emission of greenhouse gases. Whereas in farms, it's quite, I'd say, I think in some other changes, it's kind of difficult to sort of regulate the losses because there are some certain distinctions. For example, at farms, they have they're already distinctions existing. So that's why we decided on the restaurants.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, can I clarify a bit more? The food that are thrown away by restaurants are most of the time are food that are ingredients that do not reach the standard of some meals.
like a 5-star hotel, they might bring loads and loads of ingredients from overseas, but sometimes they get damaged. However, they're still edible, but sometimes they just throw them away because they do not reach the standard. So, yes.
Yep. Okay. It's interesting to listen about you guys are having a discussion about that point. Yes. Well, I think, as someone told me, it is easy to regulate this restaurant. I agree with that, but still there are a lot of food waste from restaurants, so it would be a good starting point. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Nazwa, do you have any answer for the Mr. Wada's question? Yeah?
Yes, I do actually. I'm so sorry, my internet connection is not really good right now. It's about the sweet potato that have thrown away as a food waste. Well, actually, Indonesia, there's it has a lot of sweet potato, and it is very nutrition and stuff like that. But because its lifespan is not that long, sometimes they just throw it away instead of make it as a compost and stuff like that. And also in some area, if I'm not wrong, in Papua, there's a tradition where you'll be called stupid if you are eating the sweet potato, so they will just throw it away instead of eating it. Thank you.
Mr. Wada, any comments?
No, thank you for your answer. Like, it's very understandable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Team F. Very nice, great presentation. So the next team would be Team B. So everyone turn on your cameras. Team B. Okay. Okay. So please begin your presentation when you are ready.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. This is Team B, 7 Tomatoes, presenting you with changes in food consumption is the world's transformation. So before the presentation actually began, I would like to show you a recent study published in the Journal of Cleaner Production, where the consumers of meat products were categorized into 4 classes, just to grasp what the public consumers think of food production and climate change. The first class is referred to as habitual meat eaters. They like meat and consider eating it to be natural. In this class, there exists some degree of awareness to the negative impacts of meat consumption. The second class is referred to as meat reducers. Individuals in this class enjoy the taste of meat, although not to the same extent as the habitual meat eaters. They are more inclined to believe that meat has negative impacts to health and climate. For the third class, the devoted meat eaters, meat is a very important part of their diet. They believe that meat is difficult to replace in all aspects, and they have low agreement with meat having negative impacts on the climate. In the fourth class, the meat avoiders, taking up only 6% of meat consumers, has overall negative perceptions of meat and agree with the negative effects of meat consumption. So if you look more closely at the percentage of each class, you can sense that people often have the wrong idea when it comes to climate change, which is considered by many to be due to industrial pollution. But the truth is, human activities, in particular agriculture and intensive livestock farming, seriously contribute to both climate change and biodiversity loss, as you will see more clearly in this graph here. As is shown in this graph, food production influences climate change and vice versa, causing multiple issues to both the ecosystem and the food system. Food production requires breeding livestock, transportation, cultivation, and inevitable food waste. All of those things account for climate change. As simple high school students, we decided to mainly focus on something a little closer to real life. We're going to talk about the food you couldn't finish during your meals and ended up in a dumpster. We're going to talk about food waste. In developing countries, especially in poor areas, people have trouble getting access to food, while in many developed countries, people throw away leftovers every day. In a world where people are dying from hunger, a third of all food produced are thrown away yearly, and the amount of food waste is still increasing. Food waste not only accounts for climate change and biodiversity loss, but also causes inequality. So to raise awareness and ease the pressure of food waste problems, our group came up with the following solutions.
All right, so these are all of our solutions. The first one is to change the way people purchasing food. The first one is to buy and eat seasonal food because growing food outside of their natural season only works when humans artificially create seasonal weather conditions. In order to do that, fossil fuels are needed. And as we know, when fossil fuels are used, they release like large amounts of carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere, which causes the climate change. So we can simply deal with that by consuming and buying seasonal food more. And the second one is we should not avoid bad appearance food, or like in other words, we should not judge the food by its appearance. Like normally oddly shaped or bruised fruit and vegetables are often thrown away, which is the major cause of food waste. So in order to deal with that, like instead of throwing it away, maybe we can use like the bruised fruit for like making smoothies, juices, or desserts, or something like that. The next one is to eat locally, because local produce dealers often get better crops than the supersized retailers, meaning their products are better quality and last a lot longer. And also, eating local food helps to fight pollution, because local food travels a shorter distance to markets and stores than products that come from other areas. So their transport usually contributes to less pollution and fewer carbon emissions than foods that travel longer trips. And the last one is to buy only what you need, because sometimes we tend to buy an excessive amount of food and like we cannot finish it all. So by planning our meals and making a shopping list before going grocery shopping will help waste less food. Or if we really cannot eat our whole meal, maybe we can freeze it for later or use it as an ingredient for another meal.
So now I would like to introduce an alternative of red meat. According to Dr. Emery Lecture, more than a quarter of the global greenhouse gas emission is contributed to food production. About 30% of this is caused from livestock, which include methane from cattle digestion. As a solution, we will introduce these 3 alternative food that you can try to decrease greenhouse gases. The first one is plant-based food. They can be produced sustainably because they don't require as much water and feed as animals do. Many of them have less fat included than animal meat, which makes them very healthy. The second alternative food is insect food. Although it has negative points such as the risk of food poisoning caused by wild insects, people resist eating them. And difficulties to purchase, there are positive facts that may overtake them. Firstly, they are very sustainable. In fact, they can grow with a quarter of feed cows need. And as we learned from Mr. Kai lecture, they don't require much space to produce. They also have a high nutrition that include protein, which is 72% of their whole body. Bred insects have a low risk of harming the ecosystem. Third and last, we'll introduce about fish. They are said to contain the same amount of protein as red meat, and they are substances that improve part of the human bodies. For example, DHA included in fish is said to activate our brain function. Another example is unsaturated fat. It's lower cholesterol and neutral fat, which prevent atherosclerosis, a cause of heart attacks. Now let's move on to what we can do to convince people to eat them. So there are 2 different types of food waste, which are avoidable. In short, we call it A, and unavoidable. In short, we call it UA. AFW is food items that could have been consumed if better managed, like leftover from a meal, expired food, and blemished fruit and vegetable. According to towardzerowaste.government.sg, while UAW is inedible items such as bone and eggshells, this proves that some people are still lack of awareness in food consumption. That is why one of the most important aspects to change the way people consume food should be providing them with the right information. And the subjects who have responsibility in doing this are the government, big businesses, and schools. Firstly, government can influence people significantly by applying policies about wasting food, managing the security of food, as well as forcing the businesses to follow the manufacturing standards. Developed countries can also help the underdeveloped one to reduce hunger and food shortage, like the website of the US government, Feed the Future. Farming of both livestock and crops already uses up nearly 40% of the Earth's non-ice surface and is responsible for 14% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So big businesses can raise funding for farmers to use modern devices in their farming, as well as agricultural scientists to research more helpful technology. Schools contribute greatly to education, which means they can change the future generations. They can create some contests for students about food consumption and teach students about the importance of sustainable consumption. To organize the contest and research about the lectures for students, schools also need financial help from the government and sponsor from big companies. Before moving to the last part, I'd like to show you of an idea for bicycle delivery and the process of how it works. First, the person ordering the food order the dish using an app on his or her smartphone. Then the restaurant prepare the dish. Finally, a delivery partner matched by the system delivered, and that's it. So these are the mirrors of the Uber Eats. So to conclude, I'd like to show you a quote. Every solution would be useless if each of us does not consistently take action on it. So hopefully our presentation can inspire more people to use food in an appropriate way. And that's bring us to the end. I'd like to thank you for your time and attention today. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Team B. Now, Professor Malay, please, can you provide some feedback?
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to start with a question. At the end, I didn't quite get how you see Uber Eats as what role playing there. Can you add a little bit more explanation there?
Well, our idea about Uber Eats is that although it is like useful in reducing the CO2 emissions because it uses bicycle to transport foods in small distance. However, it is not quite popular in Asian countries. So we want to promote people can apply using this kind of delivery to reduce the amount of harmful air released out to our atmosphere. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So it's mostly around replacing motorized transport by bicycles, right? But then to deliver food. That's an interesting idea. Okay, well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed the presentation. In particular, in places of the presentation, you used a lot of data. You quoted directly from scientific papers. You had graphs from one graph that I use when I teach class in university. So I was really impressed by your using sort of all kinds of sources of high quality information to structure your story. You also came up with quite a number of different sort of potential solutions to different aspects of food production related problems. So that was commendable as well. On occasion, I think the sections, the connections between the various parts of the presentation was not immediately obvious perhaps, but altogether there was a nice spirit of we can make some change happen. So I appreciated your presentation very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Mr. Wada, can you provide some feedback?
Okay, thank you, Team B, Seven Tomatoes. Thank you for the presentation, and I feel it is very well organized. So the firstly, you lay out, you are using the research, and then you find out what kind of a focal point would be, and then you just visually lay out the cause and result relationship. So maybe you mentioned the a consumer need to be educated, and also consumer need to be educated for more food production processes, more upper side of the supply chain. So and also the solution, you're making proposal, how you can reducing the food waste, and then I think those solution. I think many of the retailers in the U.S. and Europe already started the focus. For example, when you go to the Whole Foods or Kroger in the United States, you see the vegetable or produce sections. Most of all the product would be local and organic. And also, you're going to some commodity side, nuts and dry fruits, it's all sold by weight. So there's no packaged food. And in France, you go to some French, natural supermarket, they are selling the olive oil or canola oil, every oil by in bulk, or even shampoo or conditioners. So maybe get rid of all the containers and then sell by weight will be another solution to reducing the food waste. In relation to you said that only what you only buy what you need. So that's some comments or ideas I can share. Thank you. Anyway, thank you for your presentation. It is great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your great presentation, Team J. Okay, now let's begin the third and final section with teams D, C, A, and I. So, Team D, please prepare your presentation and share your screen. Yeah? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, Katie, can you turn on your camera? Katie, am I pronouncing right? Okay. Are you ready? Okay, great. Okay, so please begin your presentation when you are ready.
Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Bao Chum and I'm team leader of Team D, which can also be called Team Defenders. And our group consists of me, Bao Chum, Aina, Visal, Emily, Kathy, Nora, and Kazoo. And today our group has Emily, who's absent. And in our group, we have different roles for every team members to finish. For the data organizers, we have Visan and Emily. For the PowerPoint maker, we have Kathy, Nora, and Kazoo. And for the presenters that will be presenting our presentation today will be me and Aina. So Aina, can you tell us about the topic?
Thank you, Chum. I'll take it from here. For our final presentation topic, our group chose responsible yet sustainable, the big RYS. Next slide, Vishal. And in our presentation today, we will have 3 parts, which include responsible, where we will be talking about the status quo, the current situation, and what has been done to solve those problems. Second, the yet, justifying the weakness of current solution and resetting our goals according to our aim. Lastly, sustainable. This is where we will tell everyone about our ideas and our creative solutions to the problems we face today. Next slide. Okay, every year the Earth provides us with enough natural resources for us to survive. However, with the growth of the economy, it seems that humans are gobbling and using up those resources more and more. The evidence? Next slide, Giselle. The Earth Overshoot Day, we proved that humans are closer to using up our resources by the year. Next slide. What is happening around the world? Number one, as we all know, food crisis. There's enough food for the whole world to use, but the number of people suffering from severe hunger worldwide has increased from 135 million to 345 million since 2019. And as Dr. Jose Luis Rivera Paul said, the problem is not the food production, it's the access. Second, climate change, the big man with a big name. Climate change, as you all know, is accelerating due to global pollution and global warming, which will result in serious impact on food and water supplies. Next. According to Dr. Seda Amori's lecture, if the global CO2 level rises to its highest, we will reach a global temperature rise of 8.5 Celsius, and the sea level will also rise up to more than 9 meters. But of course, humans, scientists, researchers, we've all established that. We've all established the seriousness of these problems, which led us to come up with alternatives for this issue. Next. We've came out with the solution of eco-friendly plastic. To prevent pollution caused by plastic, various activities are being carried out around the world. For example, encouraging the use of eco bags, paper straws, recycling plastic bottles, etc. Next. And some examples of eco-friendly packaging and products are biodegradable plastic bags, paper boxes, paper cups and straws, anything that take less time to degrade in nature. Next. Alternative choice of food. Various activities are underway to ensure a sustainable food supply, including environmentally friendly food production and the search for an innovative source of nutrition, entomophagy. However, with all that said, we believe these efforts are not enough and inadequate to achieve the amelioration that we are aiming for. Now we have come to the next part, which is yet. Next slide. Here we will, next slide. Okay, here we will specify the weaknesses of current solutions, such as the biodegradable plastic bag and alternative food. Next. All right, what is exactly biodegradable? Maybe you have heard of this term before in common supermarkets where they put on the plastic bag, biodegradable plastic bag. Biodegradable is a substance or chemical that can be changed to a harmless, not yet, before, slide before. Okay, stay here. Okay, thank you. A substance or chemical that is biodegradable can be changed to a harmless natural state by the action of bacteria and will therefore not damage the environment. But what's the problem with this? Next slide. All right. The problem with biodegradable plastic bags are it is easy to be faked by mixing materials like PE or PP plastic with degradable materials, or in simpler terms, it is distrustable and unreliable. Of course, it does take less time to degrade than normal products, but it still leaves microplastics in the environment and eventually affects humans. Next. And other than that, it is less durable and can be used many times. Maybe you have experienced a biodegradable plastic bag that tears off easily. And because of that, it is expensive and costly. The price for 100 biodegradable plastic bags can vary from $20 to $50, and I don't think that is a reasonable price for a plastic bag that breaks easily. Next, alternative food. As most teams mentioned before, entomophagy is the practice of feeding insects. However, it is only an alternative and cannot replace meat, so it is not suitable for the long run. Next. And other than that, it does take many steps and time to perfect the formula, which result in a bigger cost of money and effort. I now pass the microphone to Trem.
Okay, so after looking at the weaknesses of the current situation and the current solutions, we can come to a conclusion that these solutions are not suitable for the long run, and all in all, it's not sustainable options. So we need the thing that our group thinks that we need to aim for is that the exit strategy, like a quote which says the Stone Age did not end for lack of stone. We think that the exit strategy is the best strategy for today's situation. We need to exit the plastic era by finding solutions that can replace instead of finding alternatives. So we need to end a period by starting something new. And our goals here are, Desai, can you change into the next one? Okay. Yeah. So our goals here are access to a sustainable food options for all, the decarbonization and greener lifestyle. So what should the world do? We put ourselves in different roles in different aspects and different points of views, and we have come up with some solutions. Next slide, please. Yeah, next slide. So here we will come to the part sustainable. The first solution is price the bill by reducing and reprocessing, optimizing the food supplies, lowering the price of commodities, and making them accessible to consumers. So first of all, for the government, they should make new laws to charge extra fees for plastic bags, plastic cups, or one-time use eating cutleries. For sellers, they should offer discounts to customers who bring their own containers for food, and they should charge extra fee if the customer want to use one-time use bags or containers. For farmers, they should use organic fertilizers, which are cheaper and more eco-friendly. They can reuse kitchen scraps, which contains banana peels, eggshells, or coffee grounds. They can use compost manure from cattle, and also they can use tree leaves. So they are all organic fertilizers. The next slide, please. Also, we should encourage urban agriculture in local gardens. Familiar local gardens will support urban agriculture, increase greenery in the town, and shorten the distance between producers and consumers. So every citizen should have some gardens on any land available, for example, like backyards or rooftops, depending on the place that you are living. You should have shared gardens in the cities, especially in apartments or shared buildings for the citizens. The third plan is to increase the development of plant-based food. With meat consumption really high and concerns about the future increases in consumption, the need for plant-based food is increasing and the demand is expected to rise further. So the sellers and companies should work together to sell more plant-based products at cheaper prices. And to do that, they should find reliable sources from farmers and buy the ingredients at a reasonable price, or do something to reduce the producing cost. And finally, we should avoid food mileage. We should encourage local production and local consumption and reduce environmental pollution from exhaust gases and fuels by reducing the distance the food is transported. The government should reduce the number of imported food products and look for a new way to grow those food. Farmers should widen the network and increase the number of crops or fields in order to grow more plants locally. And companies should promote local farmers by opening more stores or markets locally so that they can sell their products more easily to local people. And that's all for our today presentation. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, Dr. Tamura, please provide a brief comment on the presentation.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I enjoyed your presentation. It is really interesting that you guys try to reframe the issues. You don't see the lack of alternatives is matter. Instead, you are focusing on to exit from the status quo and completely transform to the new system and structure. It's really nice point, nice viewpoint. I like that very much. And I think it's first time the team is talking about the urban agriculture. So it's also your presentation bring a new elements to this program. So I really appreciated it. So, and you also focusing on the price issues, and you'd like to say the cheaper price is the key to promote or to lead the change. But I I am slightly wondering about that point. As you know, in the beginning, all the alternatives cost more than the existing options. So we need to break through these expensive stages, and we need to. Do you have any discussions or ideas to promote the cheaper options or to disseminate the cheaper alternatives? Do you guys have any discussions so far?
Okay, so I will explain this first, and then my teammates can continue. So the problems of prices for plant-based food is usually comes from the method of growing those plants. As I've known, there are a lot of programs and there are a lot of farms dedicated to grow organic vegetables and plants. But personally, I think those methods are really good, and it provides us like knowledge, and we know that where our food comes from. But usually, that plant-based products are not the ingredients for plant-based products don't usually come from local farmers. And for me personally, I think local farms are cheaper, and all in all, it just takes it's cheaper and it's still healthy. It's still suitable for our health. So I think we should promote the local farmers and their products as ingredients for plant-based food, rather than looking at more advanced or like more advanced programs. Yeah, so I think that's the way.
Okay, thank you very much. It's really interesting. Local production of the plant-based food is a really new idea. So thank you for your interesting presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, Professor Murray, can you provide some feedback?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, group, for an interesting presentation. You did a lot of hard work. I like the title, Combining Responsible and Sustainable. I'm not so sure that the two are necessarily opposites, but I think they're both really important in thinking about the big environmental issues that we're facing. We need to be responsible and sustainable, I think. But anyway, that was a nice choice of words. I like the sort of the critical attitude you display towards existing potential solutions, what we are practicing now, which may look sustainable or may look as though they will provide solutions, but may not really do so in a fundamental way. So this is really appreciated. And I think the diversity of potential solutions that you then suggest actually points to the fact that rather than some small changes here and a few changes more there, ultimately the world needs a complete transformation or a transition to a system that works in different and new ways. So, and therefore, as Dr. Tamara was also saying, the link with the local, therefore, is, I think, very important. I would like you to go home, so to speak, with that critical spirit, but also apply it to the solutions you propose for the future. I think you can challenge yourselves even further by thinking where the holes are, the potential problems are with the solutions that you propose. I'm not necessarily saying that they're all problematic, but I think that critical spirit will really help to move the world forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Team C. So, thank you, Team D. So the next team will be Team C. Okay, so please begin your presentation when you are ready.
Okay, we'll start now. So, hello and good afternoon, everyone. We're from Team C, we're called Legacy Leavers. Today, we'll be delving more into our title, From Waste to Power. In our presentation, we'll be introducing an innovative approach focusing on SDG 2.4, which is sustainable food production and resilient agriculture practices. The goal is to create enough nutritious food for every human. One of the ways to achieve this is to start sustainable food production and resilient agricultural practices. This includes creating a system that has a higher productivity and emits less greenhouse gases. Next slide. So mainly, we'll be focusing on these two problems. First is gas emission. Gas emission happens due to the many processes that happen during the making of food. 1/3 of all gas emission comes from agriculture. It is one of the major contributors to climate change. Therefore, in order to slow down climate change, carbon emissions should be reduced to net zero. Second, it's about food waste. Food waste is one of the problems that the food industry has created. Every year, more than 1.6 billion tons of food is wasted. In many countries, waste are managed improperly, causing pollution that negatively impacts people's life. So, next point. How do we reduce these two problems? Well, we'll use a process called anaerobic digestion that involves a biogas plant. According to the EPA, anaerobic digestion system reduces a lot of emission from manure. As you can see from the chart, anaerobic digesters are able to reduce the emissions the more we use it. So from the year 2000 to the year 2022, the reduction has increased a lot, which means anaerobic digesters are able to reduce emission from all types of sources. So how do they work? Manure and food waste will be disposed of in anaerobic digesters, which are called biogas plants. The manure and food waste will then be changed into biogas that can be used as a source of organic gas and electricity. Next slide. Biogas plants are expensive and hard to maintain, so they are mainly used for big lands of farms and agriculture. They have the size and the amount of manure and food waste needed for it to run. So, how do we implement it so that everyone can contribute to the decrease of gas emissions and food waste? Our idea is to create a chute in each house that leads to a medium-sized domestic biogas plant made for each neighborhood. The chute will be used to send food waste and sludges to the biogas plant. The plant will be a fixed dome plant. As you can see, we decided to use the Karmartech model. The gas that leaves the biogas plant will then go to a fuel cell connected to the plant, which will then make electricity. The electricity will then be sent to the houses in the neighborhoods.
Now, I'm going to deal with two main concerns regarding this system. The first, how does anaerobic digestion helps reduce food waste? Multiple organic materials can be mixed in one digester, and including manure, food waste, energy crop residues, and fats, oils, and greases, and many other sources. And all of that waste product combined to make biogas that can be used for lots of things like electricity, heat, vehicle fuel, renewable natural gas. And second, it's about how an anaerobic digestion contributes to both sustainable food production and consumption. And because it captures the methane from manure that might otherwise be released into the atmosphere as a potent greenhouse gas. We will explain it further in the ninth slide. And next slide, please. Next up, I'll elaborate more on the system's benefits. And the first point is it can be utilized everywhere. And it can be built as a standalone type or underground type. It's a compact, so it's much easier to build than other types of power plants. It doesn't need huge power like nuclear power or a lot of resources to be burned or to be flown like thermal power generation or water power generation. And the second point is in its easiness to use. So even people who don't have knowledge much knowledge or technology about the system can use it, and which leads to rural economic growth. And the last point is it can convert food waste into organic nutrients. Most importantly, this process is byproduct, and digestate is a nutrient-rich substance produced by anaerobic digestion that can be used as an organic fertilizer. By using digestate instead of synthetic fertilizer derived from natural gas, and we can save energy, cut back on fossil fuels, hence reducing our carbon footprint. Crops grown with them will also be more secure and healthier. And all of these characteristics together prove that our model is effective in promoting sustainable consumption, especially if households use these food-based digestate to grow plants at home.
Despite having a lot of benefit, this project also has its cons. Firstly, it's very difficult to maintain. The Karma-Tech model is easy and cheap to develop in the most countries, but the cons to it is that it has a higher chance of leaking methane gas if not being maintained properly. Moving to the next problem, it's about pollutant produced by anaerobic digestion. Controlled anaerobic digestion is still an improvement over sending organic material to a landfill, as it reduces the amount of methane sent to the atmosphere. While biogas from digesters may be renewable, it is hardly clean or green in the way most people understand those concepts. The use of internal combustion engine to burn this biogas also can generate formaldehyde emission at higher levels than occur with other fuels. However, the reason anaerobic digesters can be considered a green technology is because methane is calculated to be 25 times more potent as greenhouse gas than the carbon dioxide. So burning it for fuel and releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere instead is still considered to be a greenhouse gas reduction. Next slide, please. Lastly, we would like to end our team presentation. Saving the environment is not someone's business, but it is the responsibility of all humans worldwide, starting from you, your family, society, and the nation. Additionally, the government should invest more in protecting the environment, and all people must participate to save our beautiful Earth as long as possible. We would like to thank all the contribution of all the group members. Thank you to all the team members who have given their best in making this presentation a success. Thank you all. And that ends our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Okay. Thank you, Team C. So now, please, Mr. Wada, provide a brief comment on the presentation by Team C.
Thank you for the presentation, Team C, Legacy Levers. I think your kind of suggestion or proposal is brought us a pretty new, innovative point of view. So I think to change some system or culture, I think everybody as a team that can come up with some trade-off or sacrificing something and shifting and transforming. But you come up with some the change the mindset and how you can establish the circular economy of the things that. So one question is, I feel like it is very innovative and a new idea come up with, and then I didn't know much about this. Even I'm not confident to pronounce the anaerobic digesters. So could you tell me how come up with this kind of a very new idea. So what is the kind of discussion process and then these technology things? So could you share some of your teamwork going behind that?
Okay. I would like to answer a question. Thank you very much, Top Value Koji Wada-san, for your question. Okay. So basically, we are all having. So we're summarizing things up. So firstly, we need to know what is our problem. For example, the problem that we need to discuss is about a food waste, because the problem that is really related to our team is like food waste and climate change, isn't it? All right. So from the food waste and climate change, we need some solution that can become a solution that really fixing a food waste, and also not only fixing one problem, which is food waste, but also fixing the climate change problem, which only include one solution. So we're focusing on making this technology. We're focusing on thinking about lots of things about this technology, and then we're improving some of the facilities. For example, because of this technology is actually for farm, so like an agriculture for a large farm, and then they consist of big tanks and cost much for us to build, but we came up with something more smaller, which can be implemented in the household, in a neighborhood. So it's like a more like a solution. I mean like a more easier solution, which doesn't cost much and also easy to implement for us. So we came up with something that can change our views on things. I think that's what we discussed in our group.
Thank you for sharing. It's a very great discussion you had. So I'd like to congratulate on your great teamwork and a great presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Tamla, can you provide some feedback?
Yes, thank you for your presentation, Team She, Legacy Reapers. I am wondering the name of your team, so which legacy would you like to reap? But, so far, let me start about the question. I think it is your presentation opened a new space for this program. I mean, it's first time to talk about the biogas utilization of the food waste, I guess. So why or how did you get to this idea? Because I suppose there are a lot of different options or ideas so far. But why did you choose this biogas plant solution? Can you briefly talk about that?
Okay, I'll answer it. So when we did our research, we thought of ways that we can, of course, try to gain a different source of energy that isn't or much used yet. And so we came across biogas. Biogas is totally natural and totally organic. And so we were interested to know on how is it that we create biogas. And then we learned that many farms use the anaerobic digesters to create biogas. And so we delved a bit more deeper into it to research on how can we implement it in neighborhoods or in schools or in the city or even in rural areas. So yeah.
Thank you. Well, as Ika mentioned previously, the scale issue is really important for the biogas plant. From my practitioner's experience, so far in Japan, the large-scale biogas plant is not successful. It's not get success. So it's a very new idea and really innovative. So I wish if you could explore the idea more, it would be interesting. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So the next presenting team will be Team A. Nice smile. Okay, so please begin your presentation when you are ready.
A very good afternoon to everyone present here today. Today, we, Team A, or Nexus Food, will be presenting our answer to the question posed to us: how can we creatively change or transform the way we consume food to contribute to the amelioration of climate change? Our answer is the M&M model, or if you want to be specific and boring about it, the more plant and more local model. Our presentation today will be split into 5 separate sections. The first, we will address the problem. Why do we need to change the way we consume the food in the first place? Second, we will explain our strategy, our solutions to the issues. Third, our measures, or how we'll implement the strategy. Then our benefits, the benefits to our measures and our strategy. And finally, the real world current applications that prove that we can implement these measures. Our first section is, of course, the problem. The problem, I think, as we all know at this point, is the carbon crisis, climate change, rising sea levels, global warming, all these scary, scary terms. But how does food play into these? Well, according to studies by Gokid and Johns, it's shown that the meat industry contributes a huge proportion of total greenhouse gas emissions from the agricultural sector. And according to Tartan Food, food transportation contributes up to 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide emissions per year. And finally, according to the Journal Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, if the whole world went vegan within 15 years, global carbon dioxide emissions would drop by 68%, limiting global warming to our target range of 2 degrees Celsius. Now, what can we conclude from all these statistics? What can be concluded is that the food transport and meat industries are responsible for huge amounts of emitted greenhouse gases, and we must take actions to remedy these. So how do we plan to tackle the issue? We plan on tackling the issue through finding solutions for the food miles phenomenon and high meat consumption. So for food miles, our main goal is to create diets consisting mainly of locally sourced foods globally, diversify diets globally, and reduce carbon footprint by, of course, reducing the amount of transportation that is occurring to get food to your table. And how do we plan on tackling high meat consumption? We plan on tackling high meat consumption through creating more plant-based diets with meat substitutes, such as plant-based meat substitutes, reducing the high meat consumption, of course, through the implementation, and shielding the economy from further shocks from meat shortages caused by droughts, weather phenomena that we can associate with climate change. We would implement these above measures in hospitals and schools or anywhere that the government can control, because we rely on the government for a lot of these measures. And we're, of course, going to start from a small scale. We'd also like to disclose that we do not aim to completely eradicate meat or the import and export of food, but rather to reduce it to sustainable levels, because the way we are consuming food now, the way we're transporting food, the way we're consuming meat is far overshooting the Earth's limits. So what are the measures we're taking? Well, the measure is, of course, the M&M model, the more plant and more local model. For more plants, we plan on for both our measure plans, we have sort of a long-term plan, starting, of course, with awareness campaigns. You cannot change the world if no one knows why we need to change it. The awareness campaign for more plants particularly is focusing on destigmatizing the consumption of plant-based substitutes, destigmatizing the thought that plants are somehow lesser than meat. Following what is hopefully a successful awareness campaign, shifting public opinion, we plan on redistributing resources. Working under the assumption that the government wants to help the people and the planet, of course, they will listen and they will redistribute resources such as current existing subsidies to the meat industry and redistribute those instead to communities. So these communities can establish local farms, urban farms, mandated growing areas within communities to feed themselves. So that instead of having huge industrialized farms that are 2-3 countries away, several borders apart, the food we eat will come straight from 3 miles, 3 blocks down from us. Next, we would work on creating worker exemptions. So, of course, one of the issues when you propose community farms is that people don't have time to work on them. But through worker exemptions, which is mandated time off when you declare intent to work on your community farm, we would be able to fix this problem. We'd also be able to fix a lack of experience through farmers as civil servants, where the government would hire farmers almost as agents to assist in community farms across the regions. And finally, once these community farms have been established and are producing a viable crop, we plan on taxing the import and export of food, so that the incentive to eat imported food is reduced as well. And finally, applications in planting would be how do you apply community farms to urban areas? We plan on applying them through vertical farms, through hydroponics, and through rooftop gardens. Next is for more local, we plan on using, again, awareness campaigns. You can't create change if no one knows what's changing. Furthermore, government and private investment. I think we might have accidentally switched our slides because this is what's supposed to happen for the meat industry, and the earlier one was supposed to happen for more local. Apologies for that. So I'll just work that this is the more plant. Government and private investment in meat substitutes, furthermore subsidization to reduce the price of meat substitutes so that it's either equal or cheaper than actual meat so that people are incentivized to purchase. And finally, once that is sort of stable, we plan on taxing meat as well. And that is the end of my part of the presentation. I'll hand it to my colleague, Yu Hui.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of our M&M model. As a whole, it helps reduce carbon footprint, therefore lowering the emission of CO2. And our model can be a simple but efficient way to deal with a serious existing carbon crisis. And for the first M of our model, more plots, it reduces the emission of food industry by reducing the meat consumed in our daily diet. As producing meat produces large amount of greenhouse gases, as you can see from the picture here, when you eat a steak dinner, you actually emit like 10 times of carbon dioxide than the tofu stir fry. And also, as for some misunderstanding of artificial food, it's actually not very harmful, and our technology now can make it actually very delicious. Also, as for the second M, more local, it helps reduce the contribution of food miles to the carbon crisis, and it can benefit us environmentally, economically, and healthily. As for the environment, if every US citizen ate just one meal a week that is like local, it can actually save 1.1 million barrels of oil per week. So that's actually a lot. And as for economic, it can actually help the farmers to earn more than now. And also eating more local means eating more organic. So it's actually good for our health. So it's evident through the data that eating locally can be a great enhancement for the environmental quality and a pretty simple thing for the community to do to help solve the global problem. Now I'm going to talk about the applications and to show that these things actually happen. We strongly recommend consumption of substitutes for meat and dairy products by plant-based food, as what we state in the first M, more plants. This is quite practical, and actually some Japanese students plant and cook their own vegetable at school, as is shown on the PowerPoint. Like there are some photos of them planting vegetables at their school. And also the success of Top Value program shows us the possibility of promoting plant-based food and such subsidies. And such ideas shall be spread, and we want to make it an international trend instead of regional fashion, through which we'll finally achieve the more plants goal. And in order to achieve the purpose of planting for people instead of for profit, we would like to advocate for the lifestyle of eating more locally, as is stated in our second M, more local. To achieve such goal, we must first accept the fact that only local food is accessible for us. A community farming area will be established to provide food to the nearby neighborhood so that the food will be highly local. In addition, to protect the ecosystem and to develop sustainably, these farms will be adopting the concept of polyculture, that is growing various kinds of food in certain region. And as you can see on the PowerPoint, in Indonesia, there are such community farms actually working. Okay, so that's this part. Thank you for listening. And after that, we want to introduce our team members for a very short time. Yeah, these are our team members. And guess who's the most valuable person? It's every one of us. Because all of us worked very hard on this presentation, and I hope you would like it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, now, Professor Professor Murray, please provide a brief comment on the presentation of Team A.
Yep, thank you very much. I do this with a lot of pleasure. I enjoyed the presentation. I broadly agree that more plants and more local are both really important ways towards a sustainable future. You had a very sort of wide-ranging approach to providing some suggestions here. I liked the fact that you were not afraid to avoid sort of financial sides of the problem. So you talked about subsidies and prices and direct government intervention, etc., in farming, for example. Those are the kinds of solutions that we don't hear so often about when we talk about food. So I think this was really refreshing and potentially, I think, provides well, good new ideas for the future. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So next, so Mr. Wada, can you provide some feedback?
Thank you, Team A, Nexus Food, and I like the subtitle. It's great phrase, and then it's easy to memorize, like a slogan. So M&M, I like that. And also, thank you for putting the top value vegetable on your slide as an application. But thanks to you guys, and then probably I was put on my pressure by Eon top management to accelerate the top value product development for vegetables. Thank you for that too. Just joking. And another thing, I think it is good. The slide you showed the carbon footprint, visible, the carbon footprint intake visible, for meat dishes and then plant-based dishes, how much the carbon footprint differ. So I think that's be a good education to the consumers. Whenever we eat the food, we need to base if all the food the carbon footprint visible, people can recognize, okay, how much I consume the greenhouse gas or carbon. And then if we reduce this amount, maybe that I feel contribute to the earth. So I think more application, if you could put onto the more personal benefit, more emotional connection, that be more great solution. That's my comment. Thank you for your teamwork and a great work. Congratulations.
Yay. Okay, thank you. So last but not least will be a presentation by Team I. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, great. Okay, so please begin your presentation when you are ready.
Okay. Hello everyone. We are Team God Salad. First, let me begin by presenting the members of our team for today's presentation. Team leader Yudhist, Lise, Lily, Nina, Mink, Pong, and me, Lina. Through discussions, our group has agreed to have our major focus for today's presentation as food loss and creative solutions for it. Our goal is to establish a zero-waste food business which begins with small, practical measures that can make a big difference in the long term, as well as the joint effort of everyone involved in food production throughout the world.
Okay, next slide, please. And thank you, Rina. So first of all, what is food loss? To put it simply, food loss is when food that was intended for human consumption gets discarded. And unfortunately, food loss is extremely common. But with the growing demand for food stemming from population growth and dietary changes associated with the increasing wealth, food loss poses a huge threat not only to the well-being of some humans, but also to the environment. Next slide, please. Another question that arises is, where does it come from? What causes food loss? Well, from our research, food loss comes from everywhere around us. Food is discarded at every point along the food chain. For example, on farms, fishing boats, in retail stores, restaurants, or even at your own home. Next slide, please. To make it easier to understand, we can separate it into two types, which are food loss by individuals and food loss by companies or industries. Food loss by individuals could happen because of overbuying, overpreparing, food spoilage, and etc. While on the other hand, food loss by companies or industries could happen in manufacturing facilities, retail businesses, farms, and etc. Next slide, please. Next, what are the impacts of food loss? Well, when we waste food, we also waste all the energy and the water it takes to grow, harvest, transport, and package it. And if food goes to the landfill and rots, it produces methane, a greenhouse gas that is even more potent than carbon dioxide, which would contribute to climate change even further. Next slide, please. Globally, around 14% of food produced is lost between harvest and retail. An estimated 17% of total global food production is wasted, 11% in households, 5% in food service, and 2% in retail.
Okay, so to achieve our goal of zero waste, we need everyone's help, both big industries and citizens. Next slide, please. So, how can we decrease food waste in the manufacturing process? Solutions to food waste are required more than ever before. Everyone from large corporations to small villages can help to solve the problem of food waste. However, there is still more that can be done to prevent food waste, despite the efforts of scientists and engineers. Reducing food waste does not need to be a charitable or altruistic activity. There are many ways for large corporations and citizens to reduce food waste. Here is some example for to decrease food waste in the manufacturing process. First one is create a food rescue system, passing laws to increase the recycling rate of commercial and industrial food waste. Second, food education, raising consumer awareness through campaigns linked to programs like Asia Youth Leaders. And the third one is Locavore. This solution utilizes a web-based system that matches locally available food with locally produced food. And the last one is waste prevention, building a food handling and processing infrastructure, better packaging, forecasting on the product lifetime, improving product development, storage, shopping, ordering, marketing, labeling, and cooking methods. So, only solution for companies and industries? How about the consumer's part? What can we as citizens do to reduce food waste? we were thinking a lot about what a small citizen could do to help reduce food waste. And we finally came up with this idea of small actions, big effects. With each action further contributing toward a zero waste future, you can change the world just by changing a little bit of your lifestyle and habits. To imagine, we have some examples for you to understand our ideas more clearly. First one is shop smartly. It's a good idea to plan what you're going to buy before you go to shopping to avoid overbuying problems. Just purchase what is necessary and don't judge a book by its cover applies to food. Also edible, it's the ugly. And the second one is store food correctly. After buying food to prevent food spoilage problems, it is best to store your food wisely. So separating foods that produce more ethylene gas from those that is another great way to reduce food spoilage. And the last one is learn to preserve. To manage your remaining ingredients, instead of leaving it to rot, try to save it by pickling, drying, canning, fermenting, freezing, and curing. This way can also help you save your money, not buying new ingredients again.
In addition to the aforementioned solution, we chose upcycling as the primary creative approach for this presentation. According to Upcycled Food, to upcycle means to recycle or reuse something in a way that increases the original object's value. Upcycling is also popularly understood as an umbrella concept incorporating creative form of repair, reuse, repurpose, refurbish, upgrade, remanufacture, and recycling. It is one of the key concepts and practices embedded in the emerging circular economy, an alternative to the current linear economy of take, make, use, and dispose. We believe that this is an extremely useful and creative solution to our current problem. It contributes to the creation of a perfect zero waste supply chain by incorporating waste from one industry into the ingredients of another. This, in theory, extends the lifetime of products, components, and material, thereby increasing material efficiency and reducing energy consumption, ultimately contributing to the reduction of GHG emissions. Furthermore, it can provide people engaged in upcycling with social, cultural, and physiological benefits, such as learning and being empowered and a sense of community and relaxation. Among the most prominent examples of this are Entorganic, a German insect food startup who feeds their insects with waste from the beer industry, or Fofo Food Powder, an upcycled food brand that transforms almost spoiled fruits and vegetables into food powders. Food waste products can also be utilized for reasons other than food production, like a wound stabilizing dressing that uses the natural collagen inside eggshell membrane made by the researcher at Bradford Royal Infirmary and researcher in Norway. The best thing about the upcycling is that it's not something confined to a large corporation. We, as a consumer, can also participate in this activity. For example, we can recycle food waste to feed animals or to create compost, bioenergy, or natural fertilizer. We may also convert waste products to make items for everyday uses, such as natural cleaning solution made from orange peels or gummy candy created from leftover citrus peel.
So the conclusions. Why are we doing all this? And what are the benefits of reducing food loss? So the general benefits of reducing food loss includes reduce labor expense for food handlings, preparations, and storage. Less money spent on food purchase and avoiding extra deposit costs. Reduce methane emissions from landfills and a lower carbon footprints. Improve energy and resource management, reducing pollution caused by the food productions, transportations, and retailing processes. Community benefits by providing donated, untouched, and safe food that would otherwise by throwing out. Environment benefits as soon as you start throwing away favorite resource, particularly foods, you are making tricks to reduce your carbon footprints. So our presentations has come to the end. Thanks for your pay attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So now, Dr. Tamra, please provide a brief comment on the presentation by Team I.
Hi, thank you very much. I really enjoyed your presentation. It's very graphical, beautiful slides. I feel your talent in the art, how do you say, art direction. Well, so in terms of content, I like the idea to reframe the food waste. It is not only the waste, but also you also bring the idea of upcycling, and you would like to bring the circular economy ideas. It's really interesting. And also I like the idea of the promotion of the how to learn, to learn how to preserve the thing, stuff with. So it's very, it's not only new things, but also it is a recapturing of the old practices. And I think it's a very, well, how do you say, the sustainable revival of the sustainable old traditional lifestyle. So it's very stimulative and exploring the idea. So thank you very much for your comments. Thank you very much for your good, well-organized presentation. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tamra. So now, Professor Male, can you provide some feedback?
Yes, thank you very much. I do that with a lot of pleasure. I think food waste is a particularly nasty and evil problem because, and I think intuitively we can all understand this, because why would you take good food, stuff that you could perhaps eat today or tomorrow, and just throw it away? That just sounds like it must be really bad, which it is, I think. And you are proposing to tackle that in a sort of a fundamental way, including upcycling and et cetera, et cetera. And I appreciate that very much. At the same time, as you are at the beginning of your lives, you still have many years in which you can actually help do something about that problem. I want to challenge you a little bit, sort of to think even further and think of food loss as sort of an entry point into understanding the food system and what's wrong with it. For example, the fact that supermarkets and convenience stores will throw away good food when the certain time of the day is reached, etc., has to do with how these work as organizations, how supply lines work, etc. So this is not a matter of some individual just not doing something, but it's really to do with how a company is organized. Similarly, for the family, again, we are not talking about people willfully throwing away things, but the fact that every house is equipped with a very large refrigerator nowadays, in which you can conveniently put all kinds of things which you then forget about, and in the end up throwing away because it's no longer edible, is also one of those things, I think. Sort of downscaling on the physical infrastructure of our families, I think, is also an area where sort of more thought is needed. And finally, maybe connecting to some of the other earlier groups' presentations as well. So some of what I think is called food loss, for example, the shells of the egg, nobody eats them, and the bones of fish, probably most people don't eat them, or the leaves of the nice pineapple that you buy, etc. Humans cannot reasonably expect to eat those, but they can be composted, right? So for maybe neighborhood level or even household level composting arrangements, again, is an extension of this tackling the food loss problem that you are beginning. So again, I challenge you to think broadly and widely about these issues and find solutions to them.
Okay, thank you very much. So this concludes the presentations of the 10 teams. So thank you all for your participation and great presentations. Now we will begin the awards ceremony. The judges will announce the third, second, and first place teams and provide comments, followed by a presentation of the certificate. Since Mr. Mori, chairman of Your 1% Club Foundation, is unfortunately unable to attend the ceremony today, Mr. Honda, Secretary General of the Foundation, Mr. Ishikawa, Deputy Secretary General of the Foundation, and Ms. Cho, leader of the overseas team, will present the certificates of recognition. Okay, so after the announcement, we will take a commemorative photo of the teams that placed first, second, and third. And paper certificates will be mailed to the students in these teams at a later date. And those in the first place team will also receive this beautiful Globe trophy. Okay. Yay. Okay, so the third place team will now be announced and receive comments by Dr. Tamra, Managing Director of the FEAST NPO and lecturer at the Graduate School of Project Design. Dr. Tamra, please.
Thank you. So hello everyone, how are you? Are you enjoying the program? So first of all, I need to say that our scoring was really close and it was really, really hard for us to determine the ranking. So we are willing to do about all teams if possible, but unfortunately we only have the 1, 2, 3 first, second, third places. So please do not be discouraged if your team was not selected. It doesn't mean you are inferior. It's just a kind of it's just our preference or something like that. But anyway, okay, so let's start the ceremony. The third place will go to Team C, Legacy Leavers. For the third place, Team C's logical storyline and the consistency were highly evaluated. Congratulations and the best wishes for the future. Additionally, I would like to give a reflection for all the presentations. Well, I enjoyed that there were many new ideas throughout the presentation, and it's really interesting and inspiring. And many of the teams pointed out the need for campaign or raising the awareness. But now I would like to say that the target audience is you guys. So please do not close the door and just bring the message from this program to your home or your school or for your community. So let's make the better world together. Again, thank you. Again, congratulations for the Team C for their getting third place.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tamra. Next, I would like to ask Ms. Cho, the leader of the overseas team of Your 1% Club Foundation, to present the certificate of recognition.
Hello, everyone. Third prize, certificate of recognition, is presented to Team C. This is to certify the great achievement of your team's remarkable proposal about let's think about the environment from food. Your outstanding performance and positive contribution during the Asia Youth Leaders Program 2022. August 25th, 2022, in 1% Club Foundation. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. Now we would like to take a group photo of Team C. So make sure to turn on your cameras. Yeah, one. Okay. And smile. If it's okay with you, please feel free to take off, masks for the photo. Okay, so hold it for 5 seconds. 5, smile please, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, one more time. One more 5 seconds. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, okay. Congratulations to Team C. Okay, great work. Please applaud with the reaction button, everyone. Okay, thank you. Okay, so the second place team will be announced and receive comments by Professor Male, a professor of Kyoto Prefecture University and a senior advisor for Future Earth Japan Global Hub. Professor Male, please.
Yes, thank you. Before, I'm going to keep all of you in suspense for another 30 seconds or so, because I want to repeat what Dr. Tamara just said, that we found it really hard to meaningfully distinguish among all the presentations in terms of quality. You all did an excellent job. I'm amazed almost by the level of facility that you displayed in presenting, in pulling together information and working together with people that you have never met face to face and have only met recently online. So congratulations to all of you. That having been said, I will now announce that Group E, Environmental Meal, with the proposal Less Meat, Better Future, is number 2. And it was a very well-researched proposal. Obviously, you guys are good at gathering information, bringing it together, synthesizing. You had nice visuals with the data on what the problems were, etc., etc. So from that presentation technical side, it was really well done. Also, on a more personal level, what I appreciated very much was that you had individual level things that people can do, having a schedule, having cheat days, etc., etc. But the third item was being mindful about choosing, and I like that. I mean, mindfulness, of course, is a fashionable thing at the moment, but just in the ordinary, everyday sense of the word, being mindful about what you choose in terms of food, not letting it just be routine, but thinking about what the implications are for the bigger picture of the wider world and other people, etc., etc. That is really a very important element, I think. So that's been important for me personally. Finally, one of the reasons the judges agreed that this proposal would be ranked second was that you already started a little bit of practice by taking pictures of your meals and hashtagging them and sort of putting them out into the world. So not only did you think about the theory of what you'd learned, but you actually have made a minor but significant step into the future in terms of action as well. So congratulations and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So next, I would like to ask Mr. Ishikawa, Deputy Secretary General of Ion 1% Club Foundation, to present the certificate of recognition.
Second prize, certificate of recognition is presented to Team E. This is to certify the great achievement of your team, remarkable proposal about let's think about the environment from food. your outstanding performance and positive contribution during the Asia Youth Leader Program 2022, August 25th to 2022, Ion 1% Club Foundation. Congratulations, Team E.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ishikawa. Now we would like to, it's a time to take a group photo of Team E. Make sure to turn on your cameras and smile. If it's okay with you, please feel free to take off your masks. Okay, yeah. For the photo and hold it for 5 seconds, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, one more time, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, okay. So congratulations to Team E. Please applaud with the reaction button, everyone. Congratulations. Okay, so finally, the first place team will be announced and receive comments by Mr. Wada, Executive Director of Brand and Communication at Ion Top Value Co. Limited. Mr. Wada, please.
So before announcing the first prize, I just make a overall comment to all of you who participate in making presentation today, all the team, 10 teams. So I understand with a little time to prepare, and also with the kind of a remote communication, and the time difference is there too. So I really understand your difficulties to prepare. But you, all of you, overcame that kind of challenges, and then with a great teamwork. So I really congratulations to all of you to to prepare and to make a presentation today. Your job is so well done. So you can be confident to make a to go to the real world and make a business challenges and more big presentations to be ready. And then you can also, of course, keep working on more. So thank you for all. So I'd like to announce the first prize now. The first prize is Team J, a small group. So congratulations, Team J, a small group. I just make a comment to you about some presentation. So Team J, your presentation was well organized and structured. The flow of the presentation, why, what, and how. And also you can efficiently visualize a whole supply chain and develop the discussion for each with a solution too. And also your pot style presentation is so unique and attractive to our audience. And then that showed great teamwork too. So congratulations, Team J, small group.
Okay, congratulations. Thank you very much, Mr. Wada. Next, I'd like to ask Mr. Honda, Secretary General, Ion 1% Club Foundation, to present the certificate of recognition.
Hello, everyone. The first prize, certificate of recognition, is presented to Team J. This is to certify the great achievement of the team's remarkable proposal about let's think about the environment from food, your outstanding performance and a positive contribution during the AGA Youth Leaders Program 2022, August 25th, 2022, Beyond 1% Club Foundation. Congratulations, Team J.
Congratulations. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Honda. Now it's time to take a picture of Team J. Okay, so if it's okay with you, please feel free to take off your masks. Yeah? Okay, so smile. Okay, so could you, Saru-san, could you be the center of the camera? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, okay. Please smile. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. One more time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so congratulations to the J team. Please applaud with the reaction button, everyone. Congratulations. Okay. So here we go. Let's have short 1-minute comments from the members of Team J who won first place. The communication leader, Miri, will comment at the end. Okay, so can somebody from Team J please make a short comment? Okay, so I will call name. So please make a comment, Arashi, first. Yeah, just brief comment is okay. So can you turn on your microphone? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Hold on. Choto. Wait, can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wait, can you hear?
We can hear.
Okay. Hello. My name is Arashi. So I'm from Malaysia, and we have my teammates. We have Asami, we have Coco, we have Miri from Japan, we have Lar from Laos, we have Larena from China, and we have Sultan from India. India? I'm so sorry. Indonesia. Calm down. You're from Indonesia. I'm so sorry. From Indonesia. I am, on behalf of my team members, I am very thankful for the judges to have liked our presentation, and we all played a massive part in creating this presentation. Each person had their own information that they knew about, and we all play a big part. I don't know what else to say. I'm just so surprised right now. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys. I want to hide under the table.
Okay, great comment, Arashi. Thank you very much. So next, maybe, Asami, can you make a comment, please?
Yes, am I audible? Yeah. Okay. I'm really appreciate that we can won this final presentation, and actually my slogan was a small step but big challenge. I contain or good name because I really love this Team J teammate. So yeah.
Thank you, Arashi.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Asami. Thank you. Nice comment. Okay, next, Coco, please make a comment.
Like first, thank you so much. I actually didn't expect this happens, and I'm really like honored to get this award. And I like through the presentation, I saw like everyone's presentation was really nice. They each had each point like nice good point. So like I want to take actions from that, and also like I really want to say thank you to the team members. Like I was so glad to like be the team members with you, and thank you to like talk a lot and also like help together. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Coco. So next, Ler, please make a comment.
Oh, oh my God, I have nothing to say, but I just want to thank all my team members that we help each other and we can win all this competition. And I'm so glad that I have participated in this Asia Youth Leader. Oh my God, I'm so excited. But I have nothing to say, but thank you, you guys. Thank you very much for. I'm so glad that I will be part of this. Online. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Okay. Thank you. Next, Larina, please make a comment.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lorena, and I'm from Tianjin, China. And I feel a little bit nervous then, but I'm so excited now. And I'd like to say thank you to all of my teammates. And I think you guys are really creative and inclusive, and you're just so nice. So I'd like to thank you again. And I would like to say thank you to the host to make such a stage for our youth to understand different cultures and deepen mutual understandings. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much too. Thank you, Lanina. Okay, next, Sal-san, please make a comment. Sal-san, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay.
Thank you for my friend to make for point, and I'm very happy to champion one. My friend in room is all happy and see.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sal-san. Okay, now Rashtree Miri, the team communication leader. As the leader of the team, please give us your thoughts.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much to the host and the judges and everyone who supported us. I really don't know what to say, but I'm so happy. I wasn't expecting this at all because I was watching everyone's presentations and they were all so good. So I didn't think we could win that, but yeah. And they call me the leader, but everyone else was doing amazing too. So we couldn't have won without all of you guys. So thank you so much. And our team name, a small group, comes from the first letter of each of our names. And also it has a meaning that we can do so small as an individual, but we can do really big as a whole. So yeah, I hope we can keep on making actions that would lead to a big step. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for your great comment, Miri. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause to the winning team. Let's use the clap function on the reaction button. Congratulations. Okay, everyone. So now let's move to the presentation of the Declaration of Action. Please take it away, Mai.
Thank you, Ayumi. Congratulations to everybody, not just the 3 teams that were recognized, but every single one. I think you all did an amazing job, and I don't think there are any winners here. I think the way you all came into Sultan's screen showed that everybody was kind of winners all at the same time, so I really appreciated that. Thank you for having a wonderful attitude. And so we have a bit of time to now share with each other the individual actions that you hopefully wrote. And Renee and I have selected a few names randomly, kind of one person from each country, and to share their actions, okay? So we are randomly selecting one person from each country. So the first person or the first country that we randomly selected happened to be Japan. And the person that we would love to hear from is Wamon. Wamon, are you there? Yay! Wamon, can you share the action statement that you wrote? Can you read it out loud?
Wait, is it alright if I turn off the background thing?
Yes, you can. But please read it out loud.
Yes, just a second. There we go. This is
what does it say?
Mirrored. I will join the bottle to bottle.
Ah, nice. Perfect. The Eon people will be very proud.
I've got like a bottle here, so like I'll make sure I'll take this.
I have bottles too. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Wamon.
Thanks so much.
All right. So the next randomly selected country was Indonesia, and the randomly selected person is Nazwa. Nazwa, can you share your individual action declaration? Yay! What does it say? Can you read it out loud? Grow my own food. Nazwa, can you read it out loud for us?
Grow my own and sell it with a cheap price.
Grow my own food and sell it with a cheap price. Wonderful. That's yeah. Let's grow as much food as we can and share it. Yes, good idea. Thank you so much. They're clapping in the back here too. Okay, so the next selected country is Malaysia, and we would love to hear from Dina. Dina, are you there? Dina.
Yes, I'm here.
Hopefully we can hear you. I can hear you getting a lot of love. Oh, there you are, Dina.
Okay, so this is what I decided to do. I spelled this wrongly. So I will reduce my meat intake and reduce my food waste too.
Reducing your meat intake and reducing food waste. How would you do that?
I will stop eating meat and go for more plant-based food. And by the food waste, I will from the food waste that I created, I will use it to make fertilizer or
biogas.
Fertilizer.
Yeah,
Biogas.
Yeah, what is your favorite vegetable or plant?
Spinach.
What?
It's spinach.
I couldn't hear you. What?
It's spinach.
Spinach. Oh yeah, nice. Sag, spinach. We were talking about spinach earlier. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dina. I will eat a lot of spinach too. Okay. Let's next go to Thailand. Jessie, are you there? Hi, Jessie.
Hello.
Hi. What is your
Guys, I what I wrote was a bit silly, but
There's
I
nothing
wrote
silly about individual actions.
I would consume less red meat until
not
lab-grown meat becomes a common meal around the globe.
Wait, so
Yay.
the second part was what? Lab-grown meat?
And I'll consume less meat until lab-grown meat becomes a common meal around the globe.
Okay. So we probably have to invest in a lot of the technology.
I don't want to feel guilt anymore. I love animals.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, let's keep an eye on how the lab-grown meat industry changes in the future. Okay. So next we have Vietnam. Trum, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, hello, Trum.
Okay.
This is randomly selected.
Yeah, okay.
Not just
give me-
selecting leaders.
okay.
Sorry. What is your
So,
individual action?
Okay, I wrote quite a lot. So
Okay,
can you see it?
beautiful. Yes, can you read it out loud?
Yeah.
The screen is
So my plan is to start with small actions. So my first plan is to buy products from local farmers. And I have two ways in doing that. So we can help them by we can help the country by like just purchasing and investing in the products. So we can both purchase it from like local markets, and we can also invest and help them in opening more farms or like opening more crops and lands. And the second way, I want to protect the earth also. And by that we can avoid food miles and enjoy very good local delicacies. And second of all, I want to use the things that we have already. So my goal in that is to aim for the long term rather than the one-time use products. So here I wrote that fabrics and glass or similar products will outweigh the paper and plastic in the future. And by that, I will use more like personal containers in order to do so. So that's my action plan.
wonderful. Thank you. So yeah, we should all have long-term solutions and not just quick, short-term solutions that might be easier. Yeah, so that's wonderful. So in a lot of those challenges will require us to be more mindful about what we do each day. So that becomes, what am I thinking of? You need a lot of discipline, but hopefully all of those actions will be fun and rewarding at the end and not just discipline. It would be if we have creative new containers to eat from, that might be fun as well. Okay, so we went to Tram. So next I want to invite somebody from Cambodia. Visal, are you there? Yay, hi Visal.
Hi.
Share with us the action that you wrote down for yourself.
I'm so surprised.
You're surprised?
Yeah. I was thought that was not me.
No, it's never think it's never you. Everybody, there's a chance for everybody. Okay, what action did you write down?
Yes. Just wait a minute.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you write it on a piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay.
background. Yes. I don't write any my action in the future, but I just write the action that I have to do in this 3 days.
Can you read it out loud?
Yes, and the first is I can't eat Western food. Anyway, today is the last day they give us an Asian food. Yep. And one more thing, I write that I am a vegetarian, and that's a lie.
That's a lie.
One more thing that I have right is COVID-19. What a pity! I can't go to Japan.
Oh yeah. One day. It was probably less environmentally, it was more environmentally friendly to have it this way, maybe. Let's just say that.
Yes.
But please come one day, Visal.
I wish.
Okay.
I'm going to visit you first. Goodbye.
Okay. I'll let you know. Please let me know.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Next, I would like to have somebody from Laos. Mimi, are you there?
Yeah.
Mimi, what did you write?
Use the water bottle instead plastic because I want to protect this world and I don't want to destroy this world. And plastic is very bad for this world, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
and this is something that I can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So minimizing single-use plastic, and that's definitely something that we can do as an individual at the individual level. Wonderful. Thank you. Yay. Okay. Last but not least, China. From China, I would like to invite Vanessa to share with us. Yay! Hi, Vanessa.
Hi. I wrote down 4 things. So first, I would like to buy food in season, so people don't have to transport them from a long way around and emit a lot of greenhouse gases. And second, I like to buy local food, and that really relates to the third one I wrote, which is to support local farmers. Like from where I'm from in Tianjin, there are some local farmers who just sells their vegetables in the street, and I would like to buy more from them in the future. So lastly, I want to donate to charity so that I can help feed the people who don't have access to food in poorer areas.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Those are all really thoughtful actions and also doable actions, hopefully. Is it easy to access local foods in where you are?
Yes, actually, there are farmers who sell their products in the streets, sometimes in the weekend.
Wonderful. That sounds really fun, too. I personally love talking to farmers. So please take some time to talk to them as well, and they probably can tell you a lot about the food as food also. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Is there anybody who is burning to share their individual actions? Because we went through all of the countries. Yeah, Sabrina, I was hoping you would hold up your hand. What, do you want to share?
Yeah, I would love to share.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was so proud of my mate. Hold on, let me remove my background first. So I have 2 actually. So first of all is this: eat healthier, work on that vegetable, not use so much plastic, and also make M&M a thing. Shout out to my team A, y'all did good. But I also have one thing that I would love to do in the future.
I'll Eon people are taking notes.
That's all for me. Thank you. Everyone did good. Congratulations for the winner.
Yay. Okay. Arashi, what did you write?
Hello. Okay, hold on. How do you get rid of the background?
You go to the video little button thingy, the arrow thing, you grandpa.
I'm sorry that I don't know technology that well.
Get over here. Why do you
You go to the preferences? Yeah.
You didn't know how to do it.
Okay, all right. So this is mine. I don't know if you can read it. I am so
Oh,
sorry.
I cannot see
But,
that. Wait, could you read that? Could you read it?
Okay, so basically, I wrote is I will extend my studies in culinary arts and biotechnology, hopefully in Japan. So I will then pursue my career in establishing a restaurant and hopefully able to create a corporation, a business that I can research in foods and other things as well, so that I can help with the earth and also improve people's lifestyle as well.
Wonderful. Oh, that's a really nice long-term goal. We will all come to your restaurant, Arashi.
Yeah, I'll give it for free. Come.
You will have at least 70 regular customers.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, you already have customers. Okay, Yudist, what did you write?
Okay, hello everybody. Before that, I want to thank you to all my teammates, actually. And then and here's some thoughts that I write. Okay, let me get rid of this.
Yeah, you can all start getting rid of your background screen. The background.
Okay, so here it is.
What does it say?
I want to be being a minimalist person who not waste food.
Wait, what? Wait, say that again. Being
a minimalist person.
Ah, wonderful.
Who not waste food.
Who does not waste food? Perfect. Yeah. So I think we should be happy with maybe less stuff, right? Rather than trying to have more and more and more. Yeah, wonderful. I think that is a very sustainable goal.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I write a little notes right here. I want to work at Top Value actually, someday or somehow.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for your time.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, Yue Hui. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at pronouncing Chinese names still. I have a lot to learn.
So, I've written, become a scientist and find more possible solutions for food waste and Nexus Food always. This is our team name.
Beautiful. Yes. There are a lot of ways to improve, improving our technical skills and knowledge and contributing to society is definitely a wonderful way to take action, for sure. Let's go, Nexus Food. Okay, Hermione, what did you have for your action?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I just wrote 4 actually simple things. And the first one is replace some of the meat into plant-based ones because to tell the truth, I'm definitely a meat lover. So I want to be realistic that, I can't say that I will be a vegetarian in the future because I know it's impossible. So I say to replace some of them. And the second one is to have a try of insects because, as you know, I was the one who asked the question about the person who's very afraid of insects. That's also me. And the third one is never waste any food. Well, that's actually a very simple thing to do in daily life, but I think it's also the most important, especially for as individuals. And the fourth one is buy some ugly fruits and vegetables while shopping because we know that a lot of them were thrown away because they're how to say, they're not up to the standard. So maybe we can save them by buying them and eat them. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, you can tell your local shop owners, ask them why you don't have more ugly fruits and vegetables. And maybe they will be more than happy to share that with you. Great actions. Okay, Tonin.
Yes, hello. First of all, I want to say thank you to my team. You guys were the best. I'm so glad to meet you all. And here's what I wrote for. Wait, let me turn the blur off first. There you go. Can you see it?
Yes.
Eat better,
Eat
more
better.
veggies and less meat, and learn more about food so we can help spread the message about the global climate change. Yeah, that's it.
Wonderful. Yeah, definitely keep learning and keep challenging yourselves about the
Yes.
food issues that we are facing because it is truly a complicated issue. There are no simple solutions. Hopefully you have a better idea of how complicated it is and how solutions are not really easy to come by. So yes, Tony, and I think that's a really great place to end this sharing. Keep learning and keep taking actions and keep laughing. And I agree, Arashi, that everything is beautiful. There is no such thing as a ugly fruit or vegetable. I agree. So appreciate all the uniqueness. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So with this, I would like for you all to, I invite you to go to some of you are already doing this, go to preferences and take off your background effects because I want to take a photo. Now you see where I am. We want to take a photo of you and your actions. Yeah. So if you have a hard time figuring out how to turn off your background, ask a neighbor or a support staff. Try to turn it off so that we can see your actions. Yeah. Let's see if we can all do this. So yeah, so if you don't have, this is a script. Show your actions. So, and ideally your face together. It's kind of tricky. Yeah. There you go. Hermione, I think your balance is good. So show your actions and your individual actions. Yeah. Not the certificate, but the individual actions. You have nice certificates, Ganesh, but show us your action. And we will be taking a photo. All right, does everybody have their actions ready? I think everybody is good. Yeah. Nice smile. Okay, and I'm going to count to 5. It's going to be kind of slow because they have to take screenshots. And we're going to do this 2 times. Are we ready? On this side? Yes? Good? Okay, so I'm going to count down to 5. Midi, are you there? I think we lost Midi. I'm noticing. Okay. And Yuzu, your screen is black. Oh, there we go. Midi, you're there. Midi, turn off your background. Okay, hold your smiles. Don't smile too hard yet. I'll let you know. Yuzu, ゆず、大丈夫かな ?Okay, are we good? Good? Okay, I'm gonna count down to 5, and I'll show your beautiful faces and smiles. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smile! Smile, smile, smile. Okay, relax. And we're gonna do it again. Smiling takes good face muscles. Okay. All right, we're gonna do it one more time. We're gonna count down from 5. Ready? Now follow. Ready? Okay, nice smile. Okay, ready? 5, 4. Hold your smiles. 3, 2, 1. Smile, 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 smile. Good? Okay, we got it. Yay, perfect. Okay. So with that, I want to thank you personally. Renee and I would like to thank you personally. We'll thank you formally later, but thank you for a great session. And now we will go to our final closing ceremony.
Okay, thank you, Mai-san. Okay, so everyone, we would like to move on to the closing ceremony. Okay, representing the hosting organization, please listen to the message from Mr. Yoshiki Mori, Chairman of Ion 1% Club Foundation.
Hello everyone, congratulations on completing the 3-day program. On behalf of the organizer, I would like to make a few closing remarks. Thanks to your efforts, we have successfully completed the 2022 Asia Youth Leaders Program. I would like to sincerely thank all of the teachers and guardians from the respective countries, as well as the lecturers and judges for your cooperations. In this year's program, we had lectures and online visits, followed by team discussions and final presentations on the theme, Let's Think About the Environment Through Food. How did it go? Maybe it was difficult sometimes discussing in English and communicating with students from other countries, but I hope you had a meaningful 3 days. The important thing is how you turn what you learned over the last 3 days into action, and how you communicate what you learned to as many people as possible. I think that by taking this first step, you may be starting to change the world. Were you able to gain a global perspective and learn about diversity of values through this program? Were you able to improve your English language skills? I hope that this Asia Youth Leaders Program will help you in your future personal growth and development. Lastly, I have one small request to make. We have created a Facebook group for Asia Youth Leaders. After the program, I would like to ask you to stay in touch with the team members you came to know through the program and expand your network. We would also be happy if you could share information about the valuable experience you had through the program in your schools. Thank you for your cooperation. I would like to conclude by wishing you all continued success for the future. Thank you very much for your hard work over the past 3 days.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mori. So now I would like to invite Mr. Yosei Honda, Secretary General of the Ion 1% Club Foundation, to present the certificates of participation.
Certificate of participation is hereby granted to all high school student participants, an acknowledgement of your participation in Asia Youth Leaders Program 2022, 25th August 2022, Young 1% Club Foundation. Congratulations.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so next, let's take the commemorative group photo with all guests and students. So students, please go to your Zoom settings and remove your Zoom background for the photo. Yes, so that you can show your certification, okay? And please hold up your certification to the right side of you. And if it's okay with you, please feel free to take off your masks and for masks for the photo. Okay, everyone, are you ready? Yeah, remove your background to show your certificates. Yeah, please remove your background. Yeah, great. So anyone? Oh, Ganesh, can you remove your background? Chihiro, can you remove your background, please? Okay. I think everyone is ready. Okay. Thank you. So hold your certificate on the right side of you. Okay. Are you ready? Okay. So big smile, please. Make sure we can see your face, and don't hide your smiles with the certification. Okay. So keep smile. So Lara, could you hold your certificate?
Unfortunately, I didn't get that because I'm in overseas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you say it again, please?
Unfortunately, I didn't receive it yet because I'm in overseas.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, you're okay. Yeah. Okay. So please show your smile. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, one more time. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you. Very nice smiles. Thank you. Okay, so this concludes the whole program of the Asia Youth Leaders 2022.